And we're live! Film Red is destroying it with tails. Also, oh yeah, what's up everyone? I'm Karaba. Weeb with me, Zero with me. Guys, introduce yourself. Weeb, how are you?
I'm good. Sweep Sheriff, aka Infant Rhizome, and uh, I'm ready. My body is ready.
They don't ever say that again. Zero, how are you? What you been playing?
I am well, man. Uh, with all the popularity of Cult of the Lamb, it made me get back into Moonlighter.
Oh,
Um,
I thought you were gonna play Cult of the Lamb, cause I'm that close for buying it myself.
I can't, I can't justify buying another game that's just gonna sit around. Like I just got Yakuza. I still haven't finished Elden Ring. Still working through Persona 5. Still finishing Soundscapes.
Dude,
Started up Moonlighter.
you're screwing yourself up by playing Elden Ring, Yakuza, and Persona 5 with
Yeah, they're gonna
in the
take all
same
of my
breath.
time. Yeah. So, oh,
That's a
and
different.
I'm
Yeah, good luck with that.
And I'm reading. Well, I caught up on my hero, much to Juve's excitement. Um,
Yeah,
and I, I,
what a time to catch up, eh?
I mean, I think, I mean, I guess these are the new. Well, there is no new big three or whatever it is, but like of the animes that or mangas that I enjoy, all of them seem to be at some crucial moments right here. Like we got One Piece with Oda saying like we're in the end game. um My Hero feels like it's in its own end game. So like this is an exciting time. And if you
Um,
like Bleach for some reason,
so,
like that's coming back, but who cares?
my hero is in its final chapters. One Piece is in its final saga. So I don't expect what's happening with my hero to happen to One Piece just yet.
Well, My Hero will be done before One Piece. I'm almost
Yeah,
positive.
precisely. So the action pack that you're getting now with my hero, the character development, I'm not gonna. I don't want to spoil it for the people that. Do you read it, Weeb?
My hero.
Yeah.
I've read it when it first started, but I quickly dropped it because I was bored. Never mind.
Okay, one second. Go to the legend. This is absolutely a spoiler because this is One Piece manga that we're talking about, and not the anime. So I'm gonna wait on you to leave before continuing. Sorry, I literally caught up with Garuda. What's called shot. What did you say about my hero? You read
That
it
it.
or you don't read it?
I've read it, and it's fairly boring, so I
Okay,
dropped it.
so you're not caught up. Okay, so I'll, all I will say is because I wanna start this conversation, and if it's needed or not. Um, my hero and spoilers for my hero, but I'm not gonna say what happened. Let's just say, imagine a
You
legendary
can
death.
spoil it for me because I don't care.
Nah, but I don't want to spoil it for the viewers. Um, a legendary death, and a death that you gotta be bold to make it happen. Killing of characters is not an easy task. Yeah, what's his name? Akuma, not Akuma. Um, what's his name?
Asuma?
Shikamaru mentor?
Asuma, yeah.
Akuma died.
Yeah.
Yeah, they killed off Akuma. That was nice. They killed off Jiraiya, but then he came back as a I don't know what he is in Boruto. Um, other than that, I don't recall. And DBZ made death almost like comical. That's my biggest aspect of DBZ. They made death almost inconsequential. Because all you need to do is gather the Dragon Ball and call it a day. One Piece kills of characters most of the time in flashbacks, and they do it well. Some deaths are legendary, like Whitebeard, Ace. These are legendary deaths, but for the most part, they don't kill off a lot of characters. And I had the conversation with Jubei about it, and he was like, "What the author of My Hero did, he
Well,
doesn't."
to be
Yeah?
fair, I just correct you in One Piece. He used to kill most characters in flashbacks.
Yeah, I did
He
say. I did say in flashback they killed a lot of characters.
Yeah. I say used to, but I wouldn't say that's necessarily true now because a lot of people died in the current arc.
Oh, yeah, fair, but not that consequential. Maybe some are consequential, we gotta cover it. But you need to realize this, Weeb. The death that occurred in My Hero is literally, imagine a Straw Hat member dying. No, getting killed.
Yeah, that's never gonna happen. I know that.
Maybe Usopp?
Nope.
I keep seeing
never.
people want to. I don't even understand why people want to keep killing Usopp. It's like, what's
Okay,
why kill Usopp?
here is why. Here is why. His dream is to become a great warrior of the sea, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, he already is that. So, in my opinion, he already.
So that's why-
not
so
my
that's why they
opinion.
can kill him?
Hmm?
So that's why they can kill him off? Nah.
No.
Usopp is-
But it's
Usopp is
the
never
matter.
going to.
But that's the thing with the character that was killed off with My Hero Jumped. He reached his peak.
I
When
wouldn't say that. I without getting into it, what I would say for My Hero is just that the enemies are in their very particular end game, and so like from the very jump, these enemies have been damn near impossible to beat. And nothing has really changed. If any, they've only gotten stronger. He hasn't. I would say he hasn't reached anything. He just like lost, and unfortunately, like they play for keeps over in that type of world. So personally, I still think there's a possibility that he can survive. We got some folks out there that can make it happen. At least I'm hoping.
Dude, if that happens, yo, you may gonna tear that out.
Yeah, he wouldn't like it. I was like, I don't know, man. I like this character. I want to see him alive. All right, I want to see, make sure he's alive.
So then let me ask you this: what's more powerful, for him to be dead or him to be alive?
Well, him in the sense of the story, him dying makes more sense and is more powerful. Him being alive doesn't change anything because like a lot of people are alive. So him dying or him dying just kind of sort of as always, it just fuels the protagonist to like take it to that next level, whatever that's going to be. But the author has stated that like he doesn't particularly care. He likes sadder stories, so he likes when people lose and stuff like that. So if it wasn't for the opening of My Hero stating that like this is the story of how I became the world's greatest hero, I wouldn't be so convinced that the good guys win this.
Fair point. Actually, that would be such a twist that I'm all for it. And that's my biggest issue with One Piece for the most part. There are no. Okay, so let me explain this. There are no real consequences for the most part. Like what I mean by that is, like yeah, we've seen Ashura die, we've seen Izo die, but these are not big players. Even Cobra dying, getting killed is not that much of a big player, cause he already retired and Vivi was the ruler now.
Well, assuming he's actually dead, because we have to actually see their side of
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to see the body.
Okay. For me, and I'm hoping with again, how do you make someone like Blackbeard threaten to do what they did with my hero, to grab an Usopp or even a chopper and kill him off?
Well,
Cause
I wouldn't. I don't know if I want because they're very different, right? Because I think that same sort of idea could work with Attack on Titan, which is killing everyone, like
yeah,
everyone,
yeah,
right? But I don't want One Piece to be Attack on Titan, nor do I
but
want it to be like My Hero. Like I like that One Piece is, and particularly because at the end of all of these are shonen, I mean they're for young boys from like 12 to 18. There can certainly be like there's certainly things where there's stakes and things that are heavy about it. But like there's it's still made for children, and as
fair
a such,
point.
like
Attack on Titan shonen.
I think it comes in Shonen Jump, so I believe. So
Damn.
I could be wrong.
But since, what
Well,
Attack on Titan did, before you go, Weeb, is the opposite of what DBZ did. DBZ made death unimportant. Attack on Titan did that as well.
also made that unimportant because
Precisely
everybody can die.
because you're killing off so many people, then there is no longer that shock value, that traumatized moment value, because everyone is dropping dead left and right. Whether it's yeah,
Here's the thing with killing off characters, especially major characters. I know which character you're talking about because I, in the meantime, looked up what you were talking about. It depends on how you do it. I mean, if it feels like this is what we've been working towards, if that actually makes sense, go for it. But if you're doing it as a desperation move, like okay, you see your numbers dropping, okay, I need to do something big so that viewers will or readers will keep talking about it like something major. Like I mean, I don't know if you've read or watched Bakuman, the manga anime about how to write a manga. I think it was also in there that they're sort of explain how it works, like what you can do to so the typical things you can do to boost reader reviews or readership. Where introduce a a new rival character, interesting villain, or a dramatic character death, right? I mean, I think like for example, Naruto did it. In a lot of ways had well done character death, but also a lot of useless one, like especially Neji
Yeah,
was terrible because it was completely meaningless. It had
yeah.
the only reason he did it for shock value, and there is, but there it didn't make any sense, and still doesn't make
which
any
game,
sense.
which anime or manga?
Naruto,
Naruto with Neji's death. Yeah.
Oh, Neji, yeah, Neji death. It was till today. It's one of the most pointless deaths out there.
yeah, exactly. So that's an example of a major character dying that absolutely doesn't make any sense organically, right, for the story. Because anybody who says, "Oh yeah, no, he had this," because you just argue Neji had this arc because it reached his peak because he was sort of made whole again, but he reached his peak in the past, right? He reached his peak where Naruto finally managed to he got over himself, right? Because Naruto fought him, and you saw that sort of how he grew within that childhood arc. So there was absolutely no reason to do anything with him. Like there was no reason for him to be sacrificed or whatsoever to make something right because he already did that. There was nothing left for him to do. So that and his role was so insignificant in like had they killed Sasuke or Sakura, like would have had a major impact on the story because these characters are so relevant to the plot. But this made no sense, and that's why I say, like, if this was the plan all along, if you're building character up point where they have some sort of noble sacrifice, or their death has meaning, or maybe the death doesn't have any meaning, but you plan that ahead, and you're not doing that out of desperation to somehow boost readerships or whatever, or just for shock value. Yeah, I mean, that's how you would do it. So I don't think a series that like One Piece, because yeah, I know, I don't think any. I mean, let's say if anybody would die, it would probably be a character like Zoro, because Zoro is always considered to be immortal. Basically, that would be a thing you could do, but I don't think Oda will ever do that because he loves his character so much, and that's also what we're expecting. Because if you suddenly do that, fans will feel betrayed, because yeah, I'm not reading One Piece because I know that nobody's safe, and next arc somebody could die. I mean, that's not the kind of manga One Piece is. So that's why we
But
don't expect them to do that, and that's why it wouldn't make it better if he suddenly did that because we didn't expect it. Now he would betray his readers because we have a certain social contract with Oda. Like, yeah, look, we don't want you to cater to us, but we do and do what we want. Sort of, adopt fan theories into your work because we expect them to. But we do want you to uh, stick to the rules that we have agreed upon. Because we are following you, we're reading your stuff because we know that's what we expect. I mean, that's why you can suddenly change the genre of a manga halfway through, because that's not, unless that's expected, unless we know from the work of an author that he can suddenly change a gag manga into a super serious psychological thriller, right? If that's what we come to expect, okay, but that's a social contract we have with the author because we know that can happen. But other than that, you don't do that because that's betraying your audience, and we have, in that sense we are entitled
but
because we are invested in this because we have a certain agreement with each other as an author and a reader that this is this is why I keep reading your stuff, and if you betray that, yeah, then you might lose readers or viewers or whatever you want to call them, and you rightfully so because that's not what we agreed.
but how do you want a threatening villain, a believable villain, and have him walk away when he can literally kill you right now?
But the thing is with, like you mentioned, Blackbeard. I mean, Blackbeard already the he's essentially responsible for the death of Ace because
He is, and he is also responsible for the death of Whitebeard.
Whitebeard.
But that was
Yeah,
ages
exactly.
ago. What he's doing right now? He's collecting devil fruits. That's it.
Well, he will have a master plan. So, I mean, again, we don't know what the end game is. I mean, like I said last time, it's possible now that Kari, whatever it's called, the one he's talking about might be Blackbeard. He's going to inform him that Pluton is on Wano, and Blackbeard is going to get Pluton, and is going to blow up entire islands. I mean, yeah, I mean, then you're a serious threat to as a villain. I mean, I don't think at that point we need him to do anything else to establish a new villain. I mean, a character doesn't necessarily need to kill a major character to establish himself as a villain. I mean, I personally, I still like Crocodile is my favorite One Piece villain.
One of the favorite
I,
ones.
I yeah, I mean, and even though he's sort of
For me,
in the
Flamingo.
later, everybody has their favorite, but I'd say I mean, I loved him because that he was so cool and he was so calculated, and this genius of the Alabasta arc is that he pretty much had everything covered because just as soon as they thought, okay, we beat him, like we okay, yeah, we found the bomb. Yeah, it turns out it's a time bomb. So I mean, he was the man with the plan, and I love that about this character. But he didn't kill any major character himself. I mean, I think he maybe killed a few people, but nameless pirates when he dehydrated them. But I don't think he didn't really kill any major character. But he didn't need to. Because in One Piece this works. You don't need to have a villain who kills a major, and it can work. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing if you want a major villain to kill an established character to establish how dangerous they are, but you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that to establish how much of a threat they are. Even if we know that none of the Straw Hats will ever be under threat that they might ever be killed off, you can still have a convincing villain. There are what I'm thinking about. I've not anime related, but if you are familiar with the Breaking Bad series and the
Never
prequel
seen
series,
it, but I know about it.
Yeah, but Better Call Saul is a prequel series. There are characters in that series that appear in Breaking Bad, so you know these characters are not going to die in the show. Yet it's so well done that at certain points you actually are concerned for characters' well-being, that you are concerned whether or not they're going to live, even though you know they're going to live because they're in the sequel show, right? But it's so well done, and there's villains that are so threatening that you actually feel the threat they pose, that they could actually kill a major character that you know will not die because they will appear in the sequel series. That's how you do that. That's good writing. That's how you write a great villain. You can do that. You can make a villain very threatening, even though there are no stakes in the sense that no major character will die, because in this case you know that they won't, because that's what the sequel series is telling you. But the same can be said to a series like One Piece. You may know that none of the Straw Hats will be ever at risk of dying, but you could still put them in a position where they could, and you could feel the suspense, the threat that the villain poses, without actually the villain ever knowing that the villain will ever go through with it. But that doesn't matter. I mean, One Piece is brilliant at creating incredible villains, and generally by the cruelty that they display, by ingenuity, whatever they're doing, it works well. How cool they are. There's so many ways you can do that without having to kill a major character. And One Piece is a great example of a manga that can do that, and where we expect it to be.
Actually, One Piece got laughed at and ridiculed for treating Pell like there is literally a meme of Pell surviving a nuke and surviving. Not only that, and I will always go back to this with Odin. Odin cut a boar in half and he survived. Like, I will always go and forget Pell. Pell is unimportant for me. Odin, when you want to establish a character as Odin and you don't even allow him to cut a boar in half, we have issues.
You get hung up on the most inane stuff, Omar.
Yeah, that's me. But because I like realism.
Yeah,
you said we signed.
You like realism in One Piece?
You said
should we be coming to realism in One Piece of all animes?
I mean, when it comes to what I mean by realism, I don't like it when mangakas break their own rule without any explanation.
Yeah, but did he? I mean,
like for example, when
if you look if you look at One Piece, like it is quite inconsistent in the way people can die, because when a person dies, One Piece, they can die from being shot, stabbed, whatever, right? You don't have to be obliterated for someone to die. But then we see people who get stabbed and shot and probably get damaged or injured worse than the characters that actually die, and they still live. But that's not an issue because we know that in the rules of One Piece, essentially you don't die unless the plot demands it that you die, right? It's sort of a reverse plot armor in the sense that they're generally main characters have plot armor that they die when in situations where they should die. Here, essentially, because Oda likes his character so much, even the most backgroundish of the background characters, that he doesn't kill them unless he feels he has to. So their death have meaning instead of everybody can die, and that's also a choice. I mean, but sort of the Game of Thrones effect on and I don't know if that was sooner or whatever, but you can also choose to make nobody safe, or there's realism that everybody can die if they suffer a fatal injury. But that's a choice you can make. I don't think this is a big deal, and also the Pell thing again.
It absolutely is, and let me explain to you why. But go ahead, continue.
Well, no, with the Pell thing,
No. This is lost from Pell. This is literally what happened with Wano.
Yeah, but look, here's the thing.
No. I will explain it why. I have a few examples into why.
I thought you wanted to let me finish.
Go ahead, finish.
Well, I will first go back to Pell because you said that's a meme. I think whatever people, if people want to make a meme, do whatever. But I thought actually the entire Pell fake out was great because, I mean, look, you didn't see him die. He just flew a fucking bomb in the sky. People survive explosions all the fucking time, so I don't care if you think it's unrealistic. I actually really like the entire way he's written that. Everybody thought he died, and he came in the end, like, walked up to his own grave, and I love that. I thought it was very well written how they wrapped it all up, the entire arc, and especially the anime with the music was incredibly well done. So I have no complaints about this. And about the boar, come on, are we really going to complain about a fucking boar? I mean, it didn't. I mean, if anything, maybe this is a testament to the character of Odin that he doesn't cause any harm if he doesn't need to. So I don't really care about a fucking boar who we thought died and now it turns out. I think that's if you wanna get hung up on that, power to you. But I don't think there's anything you should be worried about. I mean that's like the least important character in the entire series that might have died and didn't die that you could use as an example. But go ahead if you have more examples.
Okay. So why did I? And again, Zero, I wanna get your intake as well. I didn't forget about you. Why am I harping on the Pell situation or just the board situation? If you are not capable of killing a boar, then you're not gonna kill important characters, or at least kill them in public view. What I mean by that, when Kinemon got stabbed, no, not yeah. If I remember correctly, yeah. So he got hammered the fuck up by Kaido Kanabo. Remember that one? And then in the end, like a boss, Kaido stabbed him. That should have been Kinemon end of moment.
By the way, I remember we had this discussion before, and remember because you didn't read the manga from the start, so I remember telling you the example of Wapol. In the manga, he actually got decapitated. They censored that in the anime, and they stitch him back up together. So that tells you, if you've read that part and read it in the manga, it tells you, okay, this is absurdity a level that you can go at. A character can literally be
Yeah,
decapitated and still survive. So in that sense, a boar getting cut or in half or whatever, and then somehow surviving. I mean,
but uh,
that's no big deal.
but what's his name? Wapol had a very weird devil fruit.
No. Had nothing to do with the devil fruit. Had to do with he was stitched back together because he had the 20 best doctors in the world, right? That was the entire point of that. They literally stitched him back together, and he was fine. But it was had nothing to do with the devil fruit. It had to do with the doctors.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is this, and again, for me, what's the point of a chapter like this if at the end you are gonna keep him alive?
The-
Cause all you do is you're gonna throw in doubt. You're gonna throw in doubt for when actual death occurs. People are not gonna
have,
believe it, and there is
have you seen how he looks like after he appears? Because the boars literally has a stitch running across his entire from his mouth across his entire body. So
yeah.
it's pretty clear that yeah, that happened. But the stitching might back up.
No, I'm talking about forget about put the board aside now. I'm talking about what happened with Kinemon. When Kinemon got destroyed like that, it made Kaido menacing. It made Kaido a believable, threatable villain. And when you come to find out that Kinemon is A-OK because of a law ability, which, not gonna lie, Oda, you got me with this one, cause I was one of the few that actually believed Kinemon was gonna die. Cause it make no sense for us, I'm gonna call them scrubs, for scrubs to go against a level, like for example, imagine this, and let's put it in a video game perspective. Imagine you're level 15. No. I'm gonna give you level 30.
You
And
you 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 don't have to go that far. But the thing is, I actually because they actually at initially they were doing well. They were actually able to damage him because of
yeah, because
they
of
sort of had the same
Rio.
same sort of sword spirit or whatever they
But
had that Odin had. And I mean, you constantly call them scrubs, but they're not scrubs. The samurai have already been established as being strong, period,
not
and they are the strongest of the samurai. So, these guys are not slouches.
dude.
A normal, let's say a normal pirate or whatever could never even get close to an admiral. These guys fought them off and they didn't die. I mean that is telling you enough
Dude,
about their level. And so your expectation that they should die, and again, why does a villain have to kill a character to establish how threatening they are? Because him trashing
be-
people is sufficient to show you how powerful he really is.
because not everyone thinks like Luffy. Why doesn't Luffy kill people? Oda gave an answer to that. He said Luffy doesn't kill people because when he kills their dreams, it's as if he killed them. And I'm like,
He
oh,
doesn't need. Yeah, that's the thing. He doesn't need to because
yeah,
there
but
has never really been a villain that, yeah, Buggy has somehow it has a recurring presence, but essentially when they meet again, basically they're allies. That's kind of trying with Luffy. That's his power. That's
No,
what
but
Mihawk literally said. He
um,
can turn enemies into allies.
yeah,
I mean,
but
even Crocodile turned into an ally, man,
yeah,
because even though he initially just wanted to kill Whitebeard,
I
he
was
helped him. Yeah, but that's also the reason why he doesn't need to kill
yeah, but
anybody
I never
because his villain.
said I never said Luffy need to do so, but that's what I'm trying to paint the picture. Just because Luffy doesn't do something doesn't mean a different pirate that uh, established
Yeah,
himself as a war hero
yeah,
is but
you're
so
implying. But here's the thing: you're implying that just because Kaido doesn't kill, or he has killed plenty of people, I assume, and possibly saw some in the present day story. But just because he doesn't kill off any of the main characters doesn't mean he's not trying. I mean, that's kind of the point. It doesn't mean that he has like a
no,
motto
but
like
that
Luffy that
you
doesn't kill. He certainly kills. He tried to kill Luffy. He tried to kill everybody. But just
he
because he doesn't succeed doesn't mean that he has a pacifist mentality like Luffy. No.
no
So
he absolutely
don't get your point.
dude, let me. So I'm gonna get back to Kinemon. The reason why I harped on the Kinemon death is because people didn't fall for it. People didn't believe he died. I did. I actually did. I was like, nice. He went out as like a beast. That was a nice death. I enjoyed Kinemon, but that's a respectful death. Kill him in front of Momonosuke to give Momonosuke some character development? Nice. Respect. So, what happened a few chapters later after Kinemon was survived that? Which again, Oda, you get a W for figuring, coming up with a clever way to explain why he didn't die, because of what's called law room. But if I remember correctly, doesn't it heal when law put you back? You're normal.
If
He
if 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 he if he separates you with his power, I don't think, or are you assuming that if you're injured, he puts you back together, you're suddenly healed. I don't think that's how his power works. But he is a
but
doctor, so he can stitch you back up, of course.
yeah, but law never said, nor Oda have ever said that if law ever cut you in half, then you will be forever cut in half.
No.
So so then it makes zero sense why Kinemon survived. Because Oda said the reason why Kinemon survived, and if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, it's because of law ability. Because when, what's his name? Kinemon was stabbed, he was stabbed where law cut him in half. So that's why he didn't, that's why he survived.
Uh,
That's
we'll have
how.
to go back to the chapter, but it depends on how you. Well, let's say if he got stabbed at the moment where, and then Law separated
He never
his
separated
lower
him.
half from the.
We never seen him separate them. The separation happened, I'm pretty sure, when Law first separated Kinemon, when Straw Hat met them. Like, from that jump, I never seen Law separate Kinemon in Wano, ever. Law never showcased anything like that. So that's another what's called. I thought maybe Oda was smart with it, but nah, dude. Oda takes a big L with this one, and that's what I'm trying to say. When he then go ahead and kill off Ashura Doji, which again I like, his death was not only so inconsequential, it was a blimp. in the sky. People didn't believe it, and so you, but
So I'm reading up on this, and
yeah,
what they're saying is that the reason why Kinemon survived getting impaled is because his body never properly reattached to his waist.
that's bullshit because law never ever showcased such thing. They never ever said that you need to. Do you see what I'm saying? Law showcased an ability and then he showcased that as much as he can separate the body, he can put it back together. There was never an implication that this ability doesn't work 90% of the time or 80% of the time. Do you see now what I'm talking about with cop out? I fell for it. This is for the second time now. I truly thought this was a smart move of our part. Cause I thought, okay, yeah, makes sense. Law, what's called, did do a roam on him. But then I remember, yeah, no, I'm literally during this conversation. That was long time ago, and we seen from Law. So once he put you back, you're back healed. You never seen a character put back and he is like trying to what's called use his body. So let's say the reason is true. It makes no sense how was Kinemon able to run. He shouldn't be able to run with his
Yeah,
torso attached
look.
to him.
I'll give you it. It's a pretty a cheap way of telling us that he was all right. But again, I mean, I'd say I don't think he needed to use that as an excuse. He could have just said, okay, yeah, it was stabbed, but it wasn't fatal, so that's why he survived.
Yeah, something like that. But it would be difficult to do because he almost like looked stabbed close to his heart. It was a place where you clearly gonna take a lot of bleeding from it.
Well, I mean, being close to your heart doesn't mean that you actually are stabbed in your heart,
Yeah.
and
Um.
uh,
It also
yeah,
means nothing in One Piece world, considering how people are designed and built. Like you have
yeah.
no clue where their heart is in retrospect to like their actual body shape,
Mm.
mm, for the
because
most part,
nobody looks
they're
the same.
normal, right?
Nobody looks the same thing. No one in One Piece is designed like their heart might be in the same general area, but like if you, a lot of people's issues with One Piece is that it doesn't look good because Oda does not have any standard on human form. So
Okay, so there are.
it's why Sanji is like 60% legs when people don't look like that. And Sanji's not he's just a regular human in this world.
Mm,
So it's like
okay.
if you're 60% legs and your torso is the rest of your 40% or 30%, like where does your heart fit in there? Because humans don't operate like that.
Okay, like that, I got you now. So for me, you then go ahead and you kill off Ashradoji, which again, why is killing Ashradoji is okay, but killing Kinemon is not okay? Kinemon had more impactful death than Ashradoji.
But he
Because,
had plans for Kinemon. Like that's why it's not okay. Like he had plans to
Yeah.
use him.
so
Like we
then,
clearly see what he was going to be used for. Kinemon dying before he gets to meet up with his samurai people is sort of like makes him a bit of a worthless character, because I heard you mention like it gives Momonosuke character development, but it really doesn't, because Momonosuke really doesn't get a lot of development until Luffy like kicks him in the ass and like, listen, it is your job to protect these people, get on it.
no,
And
Plus,
actually,
plus he
it
still
would
had a
have.
plus he had a role. First of all, he was sort of the leader of the group and a comical relief, and
yes, he's their
he
leader.
and there was this sort of his arc wouldn't be complete if he didn't actually get back with his wife and be happy. That was kind of the point. With Ashura, you can kind of see it because he lived his life as a bandit. So essentially, he caused a lot of suffering when in the turmoils of Wano, rather than actually be helpful. And that was sort of his redemption, that he eventually sacrificed his life. So I completely can understand why, for him, his arc was okay, eventually dying, doing the right thing, and for Kinemon, that
And
wasn't how his arc should end.
I would just say it's just a timing thing. Like even if you push Kinemon's death up to the same time as Ashura does, then it still works for me because all of them suffered from the idea that like they couldn't protect their ruler. And all of them felt this sense of failure about doing it. And so we get to an opportunity where once again all of them are back together after hundreds of years, and we're able to once again confront, not hundreds, dozens, confront the man who we failed the last time to protect our ruler. He protected us, and that is not his job. So now
Did
all of us, if we die during it, if Kinemon dies before then, it like means nothing. To me, it means like nothing. Like he dies just fighting a man alone with no one understanding his actual purpose.
did you guys feel any emotion when Ashura died? Did you
No,
guys
but I don't.
even believe that he died?
I believe that he died, but I felt no emotion towards it because I don't feel any emotion to many of the samurai. Like all of them could have died, and I would have felt absolutely nothing.
But you wanted them to defend. Okay. For me,
Yeah, I want them to make sense of their story. I don't have to have. I didn't feel it was a shock, and I think the last time I was on here, we've not discussed about it. I didn't feel a lot of emotion when Ace died because I spent very little time with him.
interesting. Okay,
All I
gotcha.
knew was that he was Luffy's brother, but like I spent
Yeah,
more time with Zoro than I did with Ace.
I
So why would I
think
care that Ace died?
I think
Same with Whitebeard.
what's
Same
called.
with Whitebeard. I didn't care when Whitebeard died. It was a
Oh
shock.
damn!
We don't, but think about it though. What do we know about Whitebeard from the time Luffy gets out of prison to the time we meet him? It's a shock
but-
because of who he is,
I,
but
I
not
cared
because
about
I
it
feel
because
him
who he
personally.
is.
I disagree with you in the sense that it doesn't necessarily matter how much time you spend with the character, because Ace, despite the fact that he was so little, and he had sort of in the anime we had a little more time with him due to the fillers. In the manga, we had the cover story, but his presence, even though he was in there very little, uh, had such an impact that
Mhm.
yeah, you feel for him, and you did feel for him because he was Luffy's brother,
Yep.
and what it did to him, and it's when we finally sort of got his backstory and how tragic it was. So yeah, I mean, I did feel something for Ace, and at that point, I couldn't believe it because I was under the impression that Oda didn't kill any of his major characters, unless it was a flashback,
Agreed.
and that's suddenly changed with this.
So what you're saying is you got shocked out of it,
I get
I mean,
shocked, but
and you felt
also
emotion because of it. That's what I'm trying to
not
explain to you
not
guys.
not just that, because like I said, I actually really liked Ace as a character, and
I
uh,
like it too.
even though he wasn't there for a lot of screen time, I actually felt like this character was somebody expected this character to have to be there more for Luffy for the story, and suddenly he wasn't there anymore. And yeah, I mean, I felt for this character because I actually really liked it. I think he had a genuine impact on the characters and on the story. Had a genuine arc, and even though he wasn't there for a lot of time, I still I sort of mourned his loss in the way you can mourn a fictional character, but it didn't do nothing for me. So I don't mean agree with Caroline Ashura. I generally didn't. When I heard he died, I was like, oh, it's kind of surprising, but I didn't generally really feel anything for that. I mean, Isu maybe a bit more because essentially, yeah, you feel a bit more for that character because it's already a character you knew before and has a bit of a backstory and has somebody that they leave behind. So you're also feeling for that character. But yeah, again, these are not made compared to Ace death. I don't think any character dying in One Piece had that much of an impact.
Hmm. Unless it's a
Which,
Straw
which
Hat one character,
which I
then
would agree with, and like I understand the concept. And again, I could see the idea that I get it. We weren't being with him long enough doesn't necessarily make a difference, and I completely understand like his role in Luffy's story and how he affected him and where they're going. But like when we talk about a meaningful death, Ace is meaningful. because like he kind of kicks the world into high gear. But so is Whitebeard's, but
Yeah.
both of their deaths are meaningful for very different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't feel any emotion over the death of Whitebeard. Now I don't feel a lot over Ace either personally, but I get to see the people who I do care about be affected by his death. So when Luffy
Interesting.
like breaks down because his brother died, like that sucks because I like Luffy and like I've only really seen him break down like twice. But I like Whitebeard is one of the four Yonko. The only thing I found interesting is that one of the four Yonko are dead now. But like
Mm-hmm.
him dying doesn't really mean much of anything to me because like it's not the Whitebeard story. I don't expect you to like hang around with us and do anything. Um,
Interesting. So
so
you
like
didn't
why
find his death badass?
his death was badass. Again, if we're just talking emotion, I didn't care about his death. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Whitebeard's an awesome character, but like to me he's not that different emotionally than like Ashura. Like him
Oh
dying,
no!
like their impact
Now
on the
you're being
story.
disrespectful.
I mean, their impact on the
Holy.
story is different, but again, why do I care that Whitebeard dies?
Because Whitebeard was a legend.
Yes, he was. But up until that point, I didn't see anything that he done other than be a legend. So I have no sense of
Yeah,
like
but
how awesome he is.
But
I
he
mean, not
showcased
how
that.
awesome he is, but
He,
like
disagree.
that him
he,
being a legend means like if Shiki died, would anyone care?
he
He's a legend
but he
too.
showcased that in the war why he is a legend.
Yeah,
When
but
Once
he
again, if
here's
Sengoku
the
died, would anyone care?
who
No. If Sengoku died, would anyone care? No.
yeah,
But Sengoku's
but
also a
here's
legend.
yeah, but here's the thing. I don't felt anything because he was a legend, but they what kind of character he was because they established him as a character as a sort of essentially flawed character in the sense that he didn't had no ambitions actually
to be the
get where
pirate
he's
king.
he want to have a family. That was a
Yeah,
thing
that was
that
his
was
goal. Yeah, which he
that's
got.
why he called
Yeah.
everybody his son. And he was such a it's not just that he was a legend, but such an incredibly rich character that they established, even in the short time that we spent with it. And I actually give kudos to Oda. He's capable of just introducing a character or have a character basically be present in a single arc and fully develop that character. And even if you kills a character off at that point in time, a character had a full arc and a character that at least I start to care for. And
Yeah, me
while it
too.
wasn't as dramatic for me, because at the moment Ace died, like okay, that was it. So anybody else dying at that point didn't have the same impact for me. But though I had some hope, maybe okay, Whitebeard survives because Ace died, but they also killed him off. But I don't agree that for you feel what you feel, right? So that I'm not saying it's wrong for you to not feel anything, but I don't. For me, I did feel something for that. Not as much for Ace, but still felt something. And it's not just because he was a legend, but because they actually made him a very relatable character, and not just awesome, but just. And I think the anime helped a lot there because obviously, if you read it, there's a lot of things you can do on paper, but you can't really bring the character as
To
much up to
life.
life
Yeah.
if it's voiced. And that's. I mean, again, this is also where voice actors can make a lot of difference because they were perfectly cast both for Ace and for Whitebeard. Had they cast anybody else, probably you wouldn't feel the same way. You probably if the character was had a very generic voice actor who just phoned it in, right? You wouldn't have cared as much. But these voice actors were so perfectly cast, and they brought so much out of this character that for me, I cared for these characters, and yeah, it saddened me that they died, even though fictional characters and all. But
So
you know what I mean.
from what seems to me, it seems to me I care about death because it brings legitimacy, it brings emotional, and it brings shock value. And each one of us seem to have the different perspective about death, which is understanding because we are three different people. But at the end of the day, for me, what made Ace death that much epic is how Luffy reacted,
Yes, that same.
which
I agree
is
with that.
he shut down. He didn't get a sudden power up and started pummeling Tengo. What's his name? Akainu. Nah, he shut down. This was a level 25 character fighting a level 99 character and surviving with the thick of his teeth. Only for the objective, instead of being complete, it literally came back to bite him in the ass. And then what do? You shut down. And that I will never forget these two moments when Luffy first experienced Ace death and also when he got passed up by Law and he remembered Ace death. Like, these two moments are legendary. And it's good. For it's not on the same level, but it would have brought the same emotion, evoked the same emotion with Momonosuke and what's his name and Kinemon. That's what I was, at least me, expecting from it. Cause
That's the only part I disagree with a little, and only because you bring up a very good point about like it's it's how we watch our characters react to them not being able to achieve their goal. That like is the centerpiece to like why we feel the way we do. But we had already seen Luffy break down earlier before the death of Ace. The death of Ace is almost
oh,
a
you
the
mean
singular
Sabody? Fair point, but I think that was a
because we have
different breakdown.
never up until this point seen the utter and complete defeat of the Straw Hat crew.
We did. Nah.
It was effortless.
Nah, we did.
What single individual handed the entire crew their ass?
Okay, let me remind you. A dude by the ability of putting his finger in the water and say ice time, and it or ice age, and it freezes an entire ocean for 3 days straight. That dude, he decimated the Straw Hat to the point where Luffy, the same Luffy that would never run from a fight, said, "This is a dude we can't beat. Take Robin and run, and I'm gonna hold him back."
There's a slight difference there in that in the end, Aokiji wasn't there.
Yeah,
to
but if
take him out.
but if Aokiji was not that merciful, we would have had the exact same moment
No,
breakdown.
because that's the same thing for Kuma. If Kuma wanted to kill them, they'd all be dead.
Yeah, but I'm not counting that. I'm counting literally the utter destruction of the Straw Hat, which again Aokiji did. He only let them.
But here's the thing. I agree with you that the Aokiji moment is definitely a moment where Straw Hats were literally hit a brick wall that they couldn't overcome at that point in time. I wouldn't call it the utter destruction because in the end, essentially the major three fighters stayed behind and fought him, and then Luffy made the mano, but the rest of the crew essentially was fine, right? Except for Robin.
Yeah, except for Robin.
But what if we're talking about you could still call it defeat, but when we're talking about destruction of the crew, yeah, that happened at Shanghai. The crew was literally scattered. There was no crew at that point in time because everybody was separated on different islands, they were no longer a crew at that point in time. Yeah, they were still, members of the Star Crew, still Nakama, etc. But at that point in time, they could no longer operate as a crew. And that's, I think, what Zero means. That's the significant moment there. That this is the first time, and I suppose the only time, where they were involuntarily separated, and could absolutely do nothing about it. That's sort of the brick wall they hit at that point in time. They need to overcome to, eventually be ready for the new world.
And not only that, like, and it's a small difference, but I think it's a very key difference because, as you said, when they fought Akoji, Big Three stayed, told the rest to leave. So even like, they probably wouldn't have got away if Akoji was ready to kill everybody there. But like, there is some semblance of like, well, I might die, but at least my friends stayed alive. Cool. They did not know what Kuma was doing. So when they see people disappear, their assumption is they died. This is why Luffy absolutely lost it, because he just got to watch all of the friends he just made get erased. He didn't freak out when I told you like this. He freaked out because and everyone was there to get erased. Everyone either cowered in fear or squared up, but they lost easily. Like, it was no effort in the same way it was no effort before, but like there was no effort on Kuma's part to like actually even try here. It was a simple flick of the wrist and these people were gone. Luffy does not know they're alive. Up until he gets pushed off into the other island and then he realizes what happens. It was like, oh, okay, maybe this is okay. Up until that point, he has just watched Robin die, he has just watched Nami die, Chopper, and he just watched his entire friend group just instantly die. And just like his brother, that absolutely broke him. And we've only ever really seen that twice. And that is when his brother died and when he thought his entire group... Because theoretically, let's just say, for example, some people like to build character development by killing off his entire crew, right? What if Oda did that? What if Oda slaughtered the Straw Hats at Sabaody, and then it's now, from here on out, it's just the Luffy story? Like, is that compelling? Because I would say no.
That would turn into a seinen then.
Yeah, I would say that's not a compelling thing, because I don't think that's what One Piece has ever been about. We started the conversation on just like how important is death. And I think, and we've said it, if it has to make sense. We all agree that like Neji's death was just dumb. It made no absolute sense because Neji isn't even that close to Naruto. It would make more sense if it was somebody like Shikamaru, someone who was like actually been very nice to him, or even Rock Lee, a fan favorite, if you will. But like Neji and Naruto, like Neji came to appreciate him, but they were never friends. Like they just weren't friends. Like Shikamaru and Naruto were friends. Choji and Naruto were friends. Kiba and Naruto were friends.
I think what's his name? Kishimoto killed off Neji too early. What I mean by that is, after you have established the relationship bond with Hinata, then you could have killed them. Then it would have made more sense. Also,
well, that's also because he doesn't know what to do with many of the girl characters.
Yeah, he doesn't know what to do with most of the characters. Precisely.
But it's like that Neji didn't have to die to make Pain be a threat, because Pain was already a threat.
No, but
and because I think about like we brought up Dragon Ball, which is a series where death arguably doesn't matter. It's not mattered for a very long time, but throughout, and if you watched it when it was happening. Frieza is I think Frieza is one of the most terrifying villains in anime.
Yeah, killing off Krillin, I believe.
But killing doesn't matter if you live in a world where you can just wish people back.
But
and they always find some convoluted way.
At that point, I'm pretty sure 99, if not 100% of the people forgot about the Dragon Ball. That they can revive them.
No, because Dende's there. The whole point of Dende, first off, the only reason we're fighting Frieza is because of the Dragon Ball. Like, that's why we're all here on Namek. So we can't forget about it. Secondly, Dende's been a major plot point in the fact that, like, oh, no, he'll be, like, the next dude to get the Dragon Balls back. So, like, it's sort of kind of okay. So, like, when Krillin dies, it's not, like, it's just a BS ass pull. Like, oh, don't worry. Like, Namekian Dragon Balls, like, reset his clock. So it doesn't really matter. but they've sort of established that already. So it's like, oh, okay, so it sucks that Krillin dies, and it like certainly pissed Goku off. But even long before that, Frieza, before he even starts fighting, is this ever looming threat, and he is he's very scary. Everyone on the planet is afraid of him. You know, people like Vegeta, who he lost, but he got jumped at the very end of the Saiyan arc. Like, it comes to this, like, no, none of you people understand. This dude will kill everyone here without leaving his chair. I think the same thing with Cell. Like, the Imperfect Cell saga started off as a legit horror movie because he's just eating people.
Oh yeah, he was sucking them up.
Yeah, he's legitimately just eating people, and I think he's like, I still think that makes him a bit of a threat, even though once again we all know, it's probably okay if he eats people. We just wish him back with Dragon Balls. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, I think you can get caught into the trap of if you keep killing to make death meaningful, doesn't necessarily have to always make someone a threat. It just depends on how they die, and they die for the right reason. I think that, like, if you take Full Metal Alchemist, where the death of Maze Hughes was kind of painful because, like, he had figured something out, but his death was kind of this sort of politically motivated thing, even though, like, it was from an homunculus. But in both stories, he dies from a different homunculus, but it doesn't. That doesn't up the threat of the homunculi. They're already a threat. Because we understand that they're these damn near nigh unkillable beings. It's just that we find a character who started to figure out the secret to this world, and he got offed.
And he got offed, yeah.
Yeah, that's what made his death impactful. Outside of the fact that, like, we liked him, and, like, we got to see the reaction to his daughter and his wife to his death.
He was a fan favorite.
Yeah.
And you would not think that they would kill someone like that. But it makes sense.
And a lot of times, yeah, when you're watching the show, and I think that, like, for Ace, we've said it, like, I just didn't know, I just didn't expect him to kill Ace. I was like, oh.
Me neither.
Wow.
That was shocking.
Yeah, it was like, I didn't know we were going down this road.
Because he did a double herring, eh? He literally made...
Because he saved him.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
But not only that, Luffy had to get a different key, because the key, I forgot who gave him, Boa or someone else gave him the key. Kizaru shot that key.
Yeah.
So Luffy, and that way you think, you're like, damn. And then when, what's his name, Mr. 3 makes a new key, and then you see it happen. And again, shout out to Oda for foreshadowing that Mr. 3 have the ability to make keys and stuff like that. And then you see the release on Ace's face, on Luffy's face. Like, we did it. It's over. That, like, done. Call it a day. Happy ending. Maybe have Ace, not Ace, what's his name? Whitebeard sacrifice himself for Ace and the other crew to escape. That would have
out of here. Yeah.
Yeah, precisely. And then Ace would have been the leader of the captain of the Whitebeard crew. That's how typical quote unquote fairy tales, not fairy tales, Disney stories go. And that's when Oda threw in the monkey wrench with Ace's death. Like, that legendary moment.
But what I also think was, and remind me if I'm wrong because I actually don't remember, what really stuck out to me about that moment is that it once again, like, reshifted the power dynamics of the world, right? Like, because up until that point, like, hockey still wasn't a big thing, so we understood that people who are Logia fruits are nigh unkillable. Logia,
yeah,
like, nigh unkillable, quote unquote, right? And our current government commander gave us a swift lesson in, but only if, like, your power is more powerful than mine.
Mm-hmm.
And he put a hole through Ace's chest to illuminate that point. And saying, like, yeah, we're both flames here, but, like, one, I'm lava, I imagine like now we sort of have a better understanding. Like it's also probably his level of hockey that he had, and like he could punch through Ace.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think up until that point we had sort of gotten that lesson about like,
Mm-hmm.
hey guys, it doesn't just matter. Sometimes, like, Ace and we both got fire fruits. Yeah, but I got lava. So like, regardless
Mm-hmm.
of what you have, tiny flames, I have lava here. So I beat you by default, maybe sort of, right? But like, I beat you by default. It's the same way uh when we see Picmos show up, and he punches. I think he punches out Caesar. And it's just like, yeah, in the new world, like Logias who think they can't get hit are very fast to die out here.
Oh yeah, Beckham. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, what a great lesson, and like what a great introduction to a character. I love Pegmos just because of that, because it's just like, yeah, guy,
Yeah.
like we
That was a
all
good
can hit you.
introduction.
Yeah, like, yeah, where you're from, you're probably the baddest dude out here. Everyone out here can hit you. So like, you need to
Yeah, I like
shape up
that.
real quick. So it's stuff like that where I thought that was kind of cool about like, Oda doesn't always make the best moves, but like when he makes a cool move, like I feel the need to acknowledge that. And like the Ace thing and the Pecmos thing, I think are very cool ways to like ramp us up with the world of like, we're going to be seeing a different level of power coming forward from here on out.
Mm-hmm. And not to mention, and we'll go back. How is what's called the attack on Konoha is remembered? Do you guys know?
In By people or in like in universe?
In general, by people. Do you
Uh,
guys how you guys they remember it?
Outside of, I mean, I've always understood it to be a bit of a mixed bag.
Well, they remember it as the time where the villain revived everyone.
Yeah, and that's sort of the point. I mean, I think part of it has to be whatever the mangaka design is, right? Clearly Kishimoto has like a bit of an issue with war as a whole, um, and that he seems to probably lean a bit more towards like, if people just sort of listen to each other, we wouldn't be in this situation. It is probably not a realistic point of view, but it's a world full of ninjas who can summon frogs. How realistic do we got to be? Because on the other side of that coin is you get Attack on Titan, where war is an ever constant thing, because the people who suffered at the hands of other people don't know how to let that go. And because of that, they continue the cycle. So then when they hurt other people, those people then continue that cycle, and the cycle never ever ends. It keeps
But
going.
because of but what happened with Kona, it should have stayed like that as a reminder that yeah, because of misunderstanding, consequences are a thing.
Well,
And
it wasn't a misunderstanding though. Like arguably, like there were no misunderstandings outside of
not to
like,
say
no, there was a
misunderstanding, but more
lie.
like a disagreement. And and yeah, because that was a disagreement with each other, and then they attack Konoha. And I liked that at first, because it was always that legendary moment when I will always remember it when what's his name, Naruto slams, and I forgot which enemy it was,
Pain.
when he makes his return and he slams an enemy with one punch. And to me, I went back and forth with my friend back then. He was like, he used that as Sengun. I'm like, I didn't see it as Sengun. He told me put it in HD. So I put it in HD, and I actually saw that as Sengun. I'm like, damn, that's cool. Yes, Konoha was fucked up. Yes, a lot of people died. But here comes the savior. Everything is gonna be semi-A-okay. And then you get that ending when he revived everyone, and I'm like, why
Well, once
was
again,
it?
though, remember, Pain is not the end villain of Naruto. So the reason why they survive is because who else is left to fight if like an entire village is gone? Like that is, if it took the 5 armies to fight
Madara?
Madara and his army of undead people. And like by crippling the current army, like you do lose a lot. And again, I understand like it is a little cheap. I won't deny that. Like it's like, oh, everybody just comes back to life. But like clearly Pain was never the bad guy. I mean, he was never the end boss. He was being used. And so like and even the end boss who we thought was the end boss isn't even the end boss.
I didn't get that from. Actually, I like that arc, and even the part where everybody came back to get alive, because that was the kind of point of it. It wasn't that was Naruto's power. It wasn't that he was terribly strong, whatever, but that he was able to understand other people's pain because he went through a lot of pain in his youth himself. He lost his parents. He was simply ostracized. That was why he did what he did, and how his character developed, because he wanted to be recognized. He wanted to prove himself. He wanted to be loved, and that's how he went through to pain. That he made him understand, and Pain didn't. It wasn't a cop out. This was a true power of Naruto. He was able to convince his enemy without to destroy him, who killed a lot of his friends and family. He was able to empathize with them, and that was what caused him to use his last bit of his power to undo what he had done, at least in terms of the.
So you're a fan of Takunojutsu?
For Naruto, I am. Like, I get that, like, a lot of people don't like it, but, like, there is something to be said, like, if we stop shooting at each other and talk to each other, perhaps we don't have these problems. Now,
I agree with you, but at the same time, if someone kills your best friend, you're not gonna try to talk it out. I'm sorry.
Well, that's part of the thing, though, is, like, we were saying it, and, like, there's an extra part. Naruto and Pain, or what is his actual name? I can't remember. They're like
Nagato.
Nagato. They're kind of sort of brothers, right? Because they're taught by the same master. They had the same master sort of kind of come save them, and like bring them to a bit of a better place. Unfortunately, for Pain, like a lot of friends died along the way, and he just grew up in a much more rougher area. But like, if anyone could understand being an outcast, being lost, and being saved by this white-haired pervy sage, it is him and Naruto.
So how about this? Instead of killing everyone in the village, just destroy the village, and then at the very end talk it out without the need of what's called what's his name, Nagato reviving everyone, because he already killed his sensei. Like, they can talk about his sensei and how he bloody is and stuff like that. Would that not be better?
Well, part of it is then Naruto doesn't actively change anyone. He just like talks to him, and then Nagato dies, and he dies saying "I'm sorry," which like it could be a thing, but part of like Naruto's talk no jutsu is that it's a skill that works. It only works if somebody's able to change.
Okay. So back to One Piece. This was a great competition. I love this competition. Where I was. For me, one of the best moments of Wano is Kaido killing off the CP0 agent.
So they're dead. I honestly just couldn't. I just sort of forgot that they were there. Honestly.
Really interesting, because to me he made an impact. He left an impact. I'm gonna leave that for the next week's conversation. We never got your opinion about last week's chapter, Zero. You was not there for a few weeks. So
I enjoyed it.
Let's start.
About 50,
Buggy
50. That makes
Yeah?
sense. Buggy's the best. He's one of my favorite characters in the show. So like, Buggy's awesome. God Buggy. On a more realistic note, it makes sense, right?
It doesn't.
No, it does. If you think about what's happening, obviously, Mihawk and Crocodile are not following under Buggy. They are just like is it number 2 or number 1?
Yeah,
Uh,
and
Das
the
Bones.
Marine knows that, right? Like, the Marines are not that stupid. Or are they?
No, remember the prisoners are that dumb because to
Yeah,
be
the
fair, Buggy
prisoners are
did
dumb,
kind of
yeah.
save them. Like, you pledge your loyalty to the guy who helped you get out. But number 2 and Mr. 3 always looked at him like, I don't understand how you people are following him. But what they recognize is there are strength in these numbers, and Buggy seems to be attracting some very powerful people. There is Das Bones, there is Bone Clay, and there is Mr. 3. All pretty powerful folks, and all of them recognize that, like, so long as we can sort of fly under this radar, we can, like, operate in relative ease and safety. Crocodile's the one who probably kicked this off, because like we've said, my man's got plans on plans on plans.
Yeah.
So
I'm
obviously,
surprised that Mihawk agreed to this. Because
that's the more
Mihawk is a
interesting
loner.
part. That's the more interesting point. What does Mihawk get out of this?
Yeah.
Crocodile makes total sense to me. He has found someone who, before Crocodile joined, was already sort of a Yonko, and was like, clearly this guy is an idiot. However, I can use him to further my goals the same way I was doing in Alabasta, because as long as I can operate in relative secrecy under the umbrella of a Yonko, nobody's going to bother me.
But
And that's
would
a
it
large-
not be better for the Marine to make Crocodile a Yonko? Because Crocodile is a believable Yonko. Or Mihawk.
No, because it's all about perception. You don't actually need to make Crocodile or Mihawk a Yonko if they aren't doing anything. And if you have relative control, if you believe you have relative control of the situation. It's hard to say with the Marines, but personally, I do not think they are fooled by Buggy, but he is useful to them. Because there still has to be the Yonko in place.
So they're using him for publicity.
Yeah,
almost.
because somebody's got to be Yonko. But when you elevate someone like Crocodile Mihawk, like, that attracts eyes. First of all, they're both former Shibukai, which kind of breaks the whole idea of what they were trying to do. Because we eliminated Shibukai, and then we're going to elevate them to Yonko.
Yeah, I'd say this is all about, he said, like, the influence he has, because Buggy essentially is a balloon filled with hot air, right? We know he's a fraud, and everybody who is somebody knows he's a fraud. But because he attracts so many followers, because for some reason he is sort of at the right place, the right time in history, right? I mean, he was on board of Gold Roger's crew. He was, in Marineford, where somehow people saw him as an equal to Whitebeard, and he gathered all these essentially these badasses who were imprisoned in Impel Down, who worshipped him like a god. That's the entire point. That's why Crocodile joined his organization, because clearly they even said that in the story that probably that was his idea. And they just used Buggy. And I think Mihawk, I think essentially he just wants to be left alone and decide, okay, I'm going to join this because the Marines clearly are now out for me. So if I'm indeed under a Yonko, they'll probably leave me alone, because that's what a Yonko title does. They won't move on you easily.
No. For one simple reason, for one simple fact, and now you broke it. You had me almost until you said the final line. Now you broke every single logic because of one simple reason. If you want to be left alone, you don't put bounties on Marines.
Who's to say they did that? That sounds something very specifically like something Buggy would do.
Well, it doesn't matter because essentially on the right that because they're part of the same organization. But no, that's actually essentially a counter move towards the Marines. And instead of just letting them put bounties on their heads and just uh, deal with the fact that Marines are gonna chase them and bounty hunters, etc. Now they're reversing their position. Now Marines have bounties on their head too, and bounty hunters will hunt them. That's the
Yep.
entire point. So, and when I say leave them alone, I mean the thing is, yeah, of course, you're going to draw attention, but you already draw attention by being associated with Yonko. It's not like the Marines are going to, accept you. You're not going to be. They're not gonna form an alliance with you, or whatever. You're still a threat, and if they have a chance, like they did with Whitebeard, they're gonna try to take you out. But they're
Yep.
not gonna carelessly send their fleet. Say, oh, Mihawk is sighted. Oh yeah, send their fleet and try to capture. Which is what they were. That's the point of Mihawk. There's a reason. I mean, the dude just likes to be alone, right? I mean, the fact that he was there on an island where nobody, essentially a dead kingdom with only the monkeys there, the whatever they're called, and
The baboons.
yeah, the baboons, yeah, and yeah, Zoro ended up there because of
Kuma.
Kuma, and Perona ended up there as well because of Kuma, um, but essentially he just tolerated them, but he's the ultimate lone wolf. He doesn't. That's I think also the reason why he became a Chichibukai, because he can't be a Yonko because he doesn't want to have a crew. So he just probably took an offer of Crocodile that, look, dude, yeah, you're now in the same position I am, right? You're no longer Chichibukai. They're going to hunt you. Join my organization, right? We're going to make sure that you don't have to do anything. We just have a figurehead. Yeah, you know him. You know that he's not. You don't have to worship him. You don't have to. You're not inferior to him. You know exactly what it is. We're gonna prop him up as a figurehead, and yeah, we're gonna hit them back by creating confusion by putting bounties on Marines' heads. So they will have to watch your own back now instead of busy trying to
Catch
you know,
you. Yeah.
catch you exactly. And I say I can see why Mio agreed to that. Okay, because basically he doesn't have to do anything. It's everybody knows the entire organization is a scam. Buggy's not a real Yonko. He doesn't have any power, but it's sort of a safe. Again, like you said, the perception. He's perceived as being part of a Yonko group. So any action against him is no longer like, not any Marine can just decide on their own, oh yeah, we're going to capture him. No, if you take a move that has to be approved, by
Yep.
the admiral, this is going to be a strategic move. It's essentially like declaring war on a country, right? You can't just, any soldier can't just decide that on their own. They have to get permission from the top. They have to essentially assemble their fleet to do so, or they have to make their own plans or whatever. So yeah, essentially that buys you some sort of peace in a sense that, yeah, you are not bothered by any random schmo marine that tries to collect your bounty. I think that was his sole motivation. I don't think that Mihawk has any ambition beyond that. I think he just there's sort of a mutually beneficial relationship that he entered with.
Agree. And I think like I think a lot of the Shibukai were sort of like that. Like they just had their own sort of individual things that they were just sort of into. That like we do this because like it makes things easier for us.
I
But like
mean,
you're absolutely right. We clearly Crocodile's got a plan going on, and what better way to hide in plain sight than to like deal with this stupid clown man? And just like because he'll never get caught. If Buggy gets caught, then like Buggy get caught. I'm not going to save him
Mm.
because like that's not the type of relationship we have. Like he's useful to me because he's an idiot. and like he furthers my goals. Like he met up probably with Das Bones, and Das Bones gave him the lowdown. Like, listen, this guy's an idiot, but he is useful for one good thing, and
Mm,
this is the thing. And Crocodile was like, cool, I can work with that. Let's figure something out.
okay. What your thoughts on Caribou wanted to tell someone about Pluton? Who do you think that person is?
No clue. Absolutely no clue. I
Okay.
completely forgot about Caribou. Like,
Well,
I was actually kind of shocked to see him. Like, oh my god, you're still here?
that's what Oda wanted you to do.
I was like, okay, cool. So I actually have no clue. Like, I mean, the obvious choices are people like Blackbeard. What's the other one? What's it starts with an I? Eam.
I don't think Aim, maybe Blackbeard. I was thinking maybe Cobra. Not Cobra, Dragon.
Dragon. Or I don't know. Maybe they tie two together. Maybe it's Crocodile because of the
Fair
recent
point.
introduction of the was it Guild Cross, Grand Cross, or whatever they are.
The Cross Guild.
Cross Guild. So maybe one of them.
That would be brilliant, by the way, because that was Crocodile's entire goal, right? To get the Pluton initially. So that would be.
See, pull it back full circle.
Oh yeah, that would be full circle precisely.
Yeah.
And now, the hunters have become now the hunted. What's your thought on this one? Basically, Marine getting hunted. I think that's why. What's called Buggy is a younker now, because that brings fear into the people. Like, nah, dude, this dude has turned the game. I'm pretty sure it's Crocodile that started this, and Buggy shits himself 10 times over before accepting it. And I'm pretty sure Miyak was like, I like the idea because you fucked up my house. Now it's open season.
I actually think the opposite. I do not think Mihawk and Crocodile confer with Buggy at all. Like,
What
they
do
are
you mean?
simply they don't hang out and discuss plans. Cause why would I? I'm stronger than you, you stupid clown. Like, I'm not going to discuss anything with you. You're an idiot. Same way Das Bones doesn't talk to Buggy. Like, he's just out and about, like, to do things when things are ready. But like, we aren't friends. We aren't teammates. We happen to be associated in the same thing because you're useful to me. If someone else was useful to me, then I'd be under them. But like, yeah, I don't think this sounds something so very wild and out of left field that to me it feels like only Buggy could have come up with it.
And that Marine thing? Nah, that's totally Crocodile.
I think it's a Buggy thing. I think Buggy, because it's the thing of someone who's far too high on their horse and whose ego, frankly, who has been, he hasn't even been losing upward. He's just been winning. Buggy's been on a constant upward trajectory since we've met.
Yeah, but when, like, for example, when you're winning, when you know you have Lady Luck on your side, do you tempt fate or do you stay in your lane?
Yeah, you're misconstruing Buggy.
I actually am of two minds here, because on one hand I agree with you, Carr, about that. I mean, here's the thing: it could be that Crocodile came up with as a way of, as a power move to sort of solidify Buggy's position as a Yonko. Like, okay, yeah, nobody ever dared doing that, so that's something that you could work with. Okay, that's how you establish your reputation. On the other hand, I also agree with Zeros that, because Buggy also initially, before, when he became a Chichibukai, he established a pirate delivery service. So he has this sort of out of the box mentality, right? So he can think of these kind of ideas. So it would not be strange for Buggy to come up with this idea on his own. So, like I said, I'm of two minds of this. Either could work for me.
Yeah, and the reason why I lean towards Buggy is because it's exactly everything you were saying, Omar, because you're thinking about it from a logical perspective. They've shown Buggy does not think that way. Like, he does not believe he has luck. He really thinks like he's made it this far off of skill.
No. He know he have luck because he always said, I can't believe people fell for it.
No, he's certainly aware of that, but like it's similarly with Usopp. Like he fully believes that to be his skill set. Like he recognizes he might not be the most powerful person in the world, but like I can still pull this thing off because every other crazy thing that I've done has worked for me.
But the
Like I'm
difference
not. He's not.
between
The only L
Buggy,
he's taken is from Luffy.
but the difference between Buggy and Usopp, Usopp is skilled in certain areas. Buggy isn't.
He's skilled to. He's skilled. He's a skilled manipulator and liar. Otherwise, he would not have all these people behind him.
That was literally a 1 in a million chance. They believe him.
But it keeps happening to him, and
Yeah,
only him. Like so, it can't be 1 in a million if like he's the only person who seems to be able to make it happen all the time.
Because it's here's the thing. If someone, here's where I would agree with you. If someone like Crocodile and Mihawk follow Buggy because they believe in him, that's when I'm like, okay, you got it. He is one of the nah. But Crocodile and Mihawk knows he is nothing. They know they can destroy him without lifting a finger. That's why I believe that even what's his name, even Buggy himself, he knows when his luck is about to run out.
I don't think that's entirely true. I mean, I agree with you that Buggy knows at certain extent limitations, though. Though I also agree with Zero. He's quite arrogant. But the thing that you're forgetting.
He is arrogant, but he's not stupid. He knows.
Yeah,
He is stupid.
Dude, let me finish. What you're forgetting is the people who are following Buggy. They're following Buggy, not Crocodile.
Yeah, exactly. Like Crocodile just joined his organization. They've already been following Bug.
Because the exact same thing happens when they were escaping Impel Down, where initially we're looking down on Buggy, then realize, oh yeah, all these he may be nothing, but the people who were following, the prisoners who were following, they are something. That those are they were actually, yeah, this could get hairy if they start if they were started to team up with him and take over the ship, right? So, and Buggy diffused the situation by taking the opportunity to say, oh yeah, hello, guys, why are you afraid? This is the opportunity of a lifetime, blah blah blah, right? But this showed them also this also showed Crocodile's Buggy's value, that yeah, he was able to attract attention purely by bullshitting his way through it, but still of these hardened criminals, right? Of these notorious pirates. So he does have he physically, he's obviously completely incapable of matching any of the two, but he does have a lot of followers, and that those followers probably have grown in the meantime.
But we don't know how strong their followers are, to be honest.
Well,
we have a sense.
Yeah, we have a sense, yeah, and probably they've grown in numbers, and there's probably maybe some notorious names that have joined them only because Buggy is in charge. So, I mean, I don't think, again, individually, Buggy is helpless against them, and he probably feels some fear, but he also knows that he has the backing of these people, and when push comes to shove, even Crocodile probably will have a hard time dealing with those if they don't decide to turn against him.
No way. Hold up! No way! All Crocodile needs to do is turn into sand and do Desert Espada and call it a day. Come on!
I mean, to be fair,
if they have hockey, that doesn't mean anything.
And if that were the case, then he would have ran over pretty much most of the Marines at Marineford, which he did not do.
But this is a different Crocodile now. He knows hockey now.
I mean, but his level of sand ability wouldn't change at all. Like, he could still do that, right, regardless.
But he can
I'm just saying, watch how he fought at Marineford. He did like he individually killed a bunch of people or
Yeah.
harmed a bunch of people, but like he did just not one shot an entire like section of Marines. Because if you think about it, the Marines are on the same level probably as a good portion of what Buggy's crew is. That's why they were the ones fighting. As far as I can understand, Buggy might be the only person right now with a fully outside of the Marines with a fully formed standing army.
Wait.
It may be Luffy because he just got a bunch of folks now.
Yeah, Luffy too.
But like,
yeah.
for some reason, like Buggy, I think we's right. Like it's a numbers thing. It's just how many people Buggy has as a whole.
But if it's quantity over quality, does it matter though?
But you're forgetting that you're assuming that none of his members know hockey. But absolutely, he will have. I mean, even the grunts like of Kaido knew how to use hockey. So he's obviously has an army of people who know hockey. And even though there are degrees, I know that. But if they know hockey, then Crocodile's advantage of being Logia is not a big of a deal as it would have been if they hadn't. So they could make it difficult for him.
Because I think it's the same way how the Marines work, right? There's a good portion of Marines who don't have hockey, but like their skill set is in all-encompassing force. There are just so many of them.
Yeah, but which section of Impel Down are the crew of Buggy?
It's from all of them.
1, 2,
except for the deepest, darkest ones. The people they disappeared. They're not from. No, was Crocodile one of the ones they disappeared? He was in like the Hidden Rim, right?
I think 1, 2, and 3. I don't recall prison number 4 and 5 joining Buggy. I don't. Just 1, 2, and 3. Because he unlocked the door and told them to join him. That's it. And this is why I'm believing like these are scrubs. No matter how much.
But these are people who went up against the world government and held their own.
They did nothing.
They can't be that much of a scrub. That can't be true. Because it couldn't have just... So, it's either... It can't be that they're scrubs, so they got washed over. So that means either the world government, just the regular dudes in the world government are more powerful than them. Because there's a lot of regular dudes at that war. It wasn't just A-listers. There were just a lot of regular guys. Dudes with swords and guns fighting. They have to have just a bunch of... Same with Whitebeard and his crew. For all the people who we see who are like cool, like Diamond Genzo and Marco and all the rest, they're also just like little pirates who are just running out there shooting people who don't get names, and who just get cut up.
And got eviscerated in the war.
Yes, but it's just, once again, just a numbers thing. Because they're still also fighting those Impel Down prisoners who are just in the way. Like, if you're just running a war, you need bodies. All wars are won with bodies. No matter how powerful you are, if you're overwhelmed... Because otherwise, Whitebeard would have easily won that war.
So you guys truly believe Bucket Crew is on some pack yet?
I think they have enough numbers to be a nuisance.
Nuisance. Got you.
So if it just comes down to, if I gotta fight somebody like Crocodile, but I gotta go through at least 200 of his soldiers, some of which who might be kind of interesting or give me just a little bit of like work. Now I'm a little bit winded when I gotta fight Crocodile. Or also, Crocodile might just kill everyone in the way and get me while I'm fighting them.
Precisely, the Crocodile can fly. Crocodile can do a lot of things.
Right, but Crocodile's a smart man. If I don't have to expend a lot of energy fighting you, then I'm not going to.
Precisely, this is why I believe Crocodile spares them. Because both Crocodile and Mihawk would eviscerate entire Buggy crew in less than a minute.
Absolutely.
but
I don't think I don't think me or we were saying that wasn't the
No,
case.
you guys were saying that wasn't the case. Because when I said that a crocodile alone can destroy his entire army, both will
hold on.
disagree with me.
What I would when you bring in Mihawk, I would agree that nobody can stand in his way.
No, 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 not Mihawk. Put
You
Mihawk aside. Just crocodile
you said
alone.
no. You said Crocodile Mihawk. So, but Mihawk but I don't think Crocodile and Mihawk would operate together. As I said, I think Mihawk is just in there because it's convenient for him. He's
Yeah.
not in there because he believes in whatever Crocodile's planning or whatever Buggy's planning.
When oh,
Well, if Crocodile on his own would have to face because you're assuming that it's the same guys that escaped with Buggy from Marineford are the only ones that have joined Buggy. I mean, he had giants working for them until they left him for Luffy, right?
dude, Giant
And
does nothing.
oh, dude, giants can do a lot.
Luffy has a giant on his crew. What do you mean he's nothing? Like,
If,
come on, we can't keep
giants
keep discounting people if they're
We
not
have
the main
yet to see a
characters.
giant
Giants
that's
can
strong
do.
enough.
But here's the thing. But who we don't know. I mean, now see Yonka, we don't know who joined them, right? There could be
Right.
a lot of big names, people we may know, people we don't know have joined his crew, and it could be very strong hockey users. And then it gets dicey. I mean, again, if Crocodile wants to, he probably could take them all out and get to Buggy. Thing is, it wouldn't be without any cost. It would not. It would probably leave him uh, vulnerable in some way.
Yes.
So he can't use that. He doesn't want to expend all his energy just to get rid of everybody who's in between him and Buggy. So I'd say
Yeah.
it's not as easy as you make it sound. But of course, Buggy knows that he cannot take it. Crocodile, if he wanted to, obviously he could kill him at a moment's notice. He probably had to face all of Buggy's supporters, but he still could do it. But he doesn't do it because he knows that Crocodile doesn't want to have the hassle of having to deal with all these followers and it's impossible for them to all be chums, right? You're grossly underestimating what it takes to be a member of a Yonko crew. But even the chums in Kaido's crew were still hockey users. They were still strong. They could still slow you down. They could still wear you down until you finally
Yeah,
got to an
but
off or
that's
got to off
the
Kaido.
difference though. This was Kaido. A dude that is smart enough to recruit strong people. But that's not Buggy.
Right. It's not Buggy, but it's probably Crocodile.
Oh, it
Crocodile
doesn't have,
is definitely
doesn't
smart
even
enough
have
to
to.
start
It
bringing
doesn't
some.
even have to be Crocodile. Like I said, even when Buggy recruited those prisoners from Impel Down, Crocodile said, "Oh, they were all pretty much notorious pirates, right? So he might be weak, but they're all formidable. And who knows who else has joined them at this point in time? So I don't think any of all of the followers of Buggy are chums. I think there are plenty of them who are somebody, who are known quantity. And then and say again, of course, one on one, Buggy stands no chance. If Crocodile wants to, he can take over, but he knows that nobody will follow him because they're dedicated to Buggy, and then he has no army, and the crew that joins Buggy, yeah, they're not going to be chumps because
So if you're
nobody
saying not
is
Trump,
a chump.
I agree, because I don't think he can make Yonko. Like, I think two things happen when Buggy gets Yonko. One is that now he attracts the attention of like actual powerful people. Some of these people might be very dumb. Some of these people are like can see through the ruse but find Buggy useful. And then some people see like, oh, Crocodile and Mihawk are with them. I'm intrigued of what's going on. Because why would they join him? We all know that this clown is a clown. What's the deal? What's going on? And then Crocodile actively probably reaching out to people because we all know he can set up an organization saying like, you should join me. I've got some things in the work. Let's go do some stuff.
I think
And I agree with it. Like, there's just absolutely no way that the same people who fought at Marineford are the same buggy crew we see as a Yonko. There's just no way. Like, he's
Um,
definitely gained more people now.
Here is why I believe the Marines made Buggy Ayonko. One, Crocodile and Mihawk joined his crew. No, they started a new guild, and that is with the name of Buggy. They know Buggy is Crab, but this is Mihawk and Crocodile combined. Mind you, Crocodile have also Mr. One on his side, and who knows who else he have on his side. On the other hand, these two are now put bounties on Marine's head. That's how you know Shink started to change. And that's why we're like, yeah, no, he's Yonko now. He himself, he is not a Yonko. He is absolutely a scrub. But
I mean, but timeline wise, I don't know how it works, right? But he was named a Yonko long before the Grand Crew was formed, right?
no.
That hasn't been. I think that here's the thing. If you
No,
look back
no.
no, yeah, you're right. But if you look back at when Buggy became a Chichibukai, um, he didn't become a Chichibukai because he was strong or did something incredible.
Because
No,
he needed numbers. That's it. They needed a body to fill a seat. That's
yeah,
it.
no,
But
no,
that
no.
could be literally
You're
anybody, like other.
oversimplifying. No,
Yeah,
no, no. You cannot be a cheat because they
Oh,
established that clearly. They didn't even want to make Blackbeard a Chichibuka initially until he did something because they didn't know him. He was an unknown quantity. The reason why Buggy became a Chichibuka is because of his reputation and because the people who were following him. Because it was clear that suddenly he became. They realized, oh. They discovered, oh, Buggy was on Gold Roger's crew.
yeah, that was about to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was a rival of Whitebeard suddenly. All these things established his reputation, and he had followers. He had notorious pirates following him, and that grew, that spinballed into, say a movement, sort of a cult of buggy worshippers, right?
that's the
And
perfect way to describe it. It's the cult of Buggy.
yeah, and it's a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy because more people join Buggy, his reputation keeps on growing. That's how he became a Chichibukai, and now he's no longer Chichibukai, and probably indeed he was approached. I mean, we have no information on how or when he became one, but clearly it's all of the above, right? It's his reputation, it's people who follow him, and then you have two former Chichibukai joining up. So essentially, three Chichibukai formed an organization that also issued bounties on Marines. So all of that combined made them decide, okay, Buggy is a Yonko, because the thing is, part there's part of that probably the Marines are also um, somewhat incompetent because they didn't know about Buggy's relationship with Gold Roger and they are
Yeah,
overestimating him to a certain degree. There's probably somewhere also calculated decisions that, okay, yeah, look, we probably know that he's not uh, up to snuff in terms of fighting ability. But let's say if they when they made him a Chichibukai, let's say if they ever need because they didn't know they were going to disband at that point in time, we have to face another Yonko. Yeah, obviously we're not going to count on Buggy, but we're going to count on all the pirates he's going to bring with him because he's not going to fight alone because that's Buggy's MO. Even if other Chichibukai show up without any support because that's sort of their MO, he's going to show up there with his entire crew because that's how he is because he's not going to risk his own life
yeah,
for a military summon. But that's just how he is, and that's sort of this sort of this perpetual shit machine basically. The more he bullshits, the more followers he gets, and the bigger his reputation gets, and that's it's of course a giant big joke of Oda
Yeah.
to have the weakest opponent of Luffy, or one of the weakest, become a Yonko in the end. And maybe Pirate King is still holding out for that one. But
I would
So,
love it. Please be Pirate King, Buggy. Like
well,
I
I was
need Buggy to be
about to
Pirate King.
say that. What do you guys' opinion of him becoming a Viking and also having the D in his name?
I don't know if I need the D, like, but
You're being selective.
I
But
would love for him to be Pirate King
does it
off the
make
simple
sense
fact.
though?
No,
yeah,
that's exact. I mean, I would
oh,
say no, but that's exactly why I want him to be king. Nothing about what Buggy does makes sense.
it
Okay.
would be absolutely. Of course, Luffy will find the One Piece, etc. But it would be
Yes,
so hilarious that the entire world thinks that Buggy is
Buggy.
the.
Yes, exactly.
It
Like
would
Luffy achieves
it
his goal, does all
to
that,
me
but Buggy's the one who gets all the credit for like
that
finding the thing.
but that would leave such a bad taste in my mouth, cause I like Buggy, but something so serious as a Pirate King, I don't want it to be half as like as
Uh,
a comical joke
but
relief.
here's kind of the thing: is Luffy doesn't care for the title. Yes, he wants to be a pirate king, but then it means he's the freest person in the world. So as long as he achieves his goal, and as long because everybody who means anything, who knows how it how the world works, etc., they will know that Luffy is a pirate king. They will recognize him. But it would be really funny if just the general public thinks that Buggy is the pirate king.
It's like Dragon Ball and Mr. Satan, whereas like we all know Goku
Exactly.
saved the world, but it's very funny that everyone thinks that Mr. Satan's the hero here. Like that's hilarious. But like Goku doesn't care. Like I'm not that interested in being the guy who saved the world, and I think it all depends on what like the One Piece it is, right? Like if
Mm.
that's something that shifts up to like Pirate King doesn't really matter. Yeah, and again I don't know what that is, but like I would just find it funny. I think Oda's basically stated like Buggy's my favorite character, which is why he's been around for so long as he
Okay.
has.
Talking about the Grand Fleet and talking about the narrator when he said that the Grand Fleet is going to be involved something catastrophic or something big, I thought maybe we're gonna see Grand Fleet versus Buggy. So Yonko versus Yonko. Luffy and his Grand Fleet versus Buggy and his quote unquote Grand Fleet.
Mm,
I think
I
Buggy will be helpful at the end when we get to whatever giant war the next
'Cause
giant war we're having.
it makes sense that when we're gonna get the Zoro versus Mihawk fight.
But my thought was always that the next big war we're getting is going to be similar to Marineford, but just on a massive, massive scale.
No, that's the end war.
I mean, I think Buggy's a part of the end war.
Get
I don't
the
think you have.
fuck
I don't
out
think you have
of
an.
here.
I don't think you have an end war without the Marines. And if you have an end, if that's part of because you're talking about a war is massive amount of people.
Yeah, but
So,
that's why I said Yonko versus Yonko. That's a war.
but
And after,
I would argue that Marineford is a larger war than anything we've seen so far.
yeah, that's
It's the
why I
biggest war
said.
we've seen.
So, okay, so then the only way you can top it is when you have Yonko versus Yonko, and then Blackbeard comes in and steal the crown, and Luffy gonna need to take it back. And the
It's an
Marines are on
it's
some
an
fuck shit.
all-out war. Everyone's here, and everyone is bodies are flying everywhere. Everyone's
Also,
invited to
there's
this war.
Shanks, eh? Remember Shanks? We don't know where
Yeah,
he is at.
as far as I'm concerned, everyone at the end game will be a part of this war. There will probably be parts because One Piece is notorious for splitting up the crew and having them do one-on-one things. So obviously there will be some one-on-one actions happening here. But if I think from a numbers perspective, the way that Marineford worked was that we had a Yonko come and took on the entirety of the Marine. I don't know what Whitebeard's plan was. What I will say is that the introduction of the good amount of people from Impo down definitely helped in Whitebeard's favor. If nothing else, just to like cause all those people were against the Marines. They weren't necessarily here to save Ace, but they were here to fight Marines. So like that helps. I think that's the same role that Buggy is going to play again. He's obviously he'll probably try to get to One Piece or whatever because that's Buggy. And Crocodile's plan will come to fruition, but like just the sheer amount of people that he has is the thing that can be used to hold off or fight with the Marines, the organization as a whole.
Okay.
Then you include Luffy because if we one for one it's Luffy and his Grand Fleet, which didn't represent Whitebeard, right? And then because all the other Yonko crews, well, we don't know what's happening with Kaido and Big Mom, but only Luffy has a massive crew. Shanks' crew is very small. And like so the Marines have an absurd incredible amount of numbers, with some heavy hitters in there. This isn't even including any of the vice admirals. They've still like Hina's out here, Garp's out here, Kobe's out here. They still got some pretty heavy hitters who even aren't like super high level. So you need some bodies to get in the way of them. This is where Buggy comes up.
Okay. Not to cut you off, but I really need to ask this question. How much time do you guys still have? Because I'm having lots of the conversation.
I'll probably be done in like maybe another 30.
Okay, and you, Eve?
I can stick around for another 30.
Okay, then I'm gonna, not per se wrap it up, but move into the next topic because we have a few things to cover. Sorry for cutting you off, Zero, but
no, you're fine.
Since you don't have a lot of time, I wanna not per se debunk a theory, but almost like confirm it. And which is, I fell for it, and we fell for it. So basically, when it comes to Sanji, this is from the Arthur Library of O'Hara. He is a YouTuber and Twitter account that translate news from Oda and stuff like that. So he's very reliable. He said, Oda confirmed the raid suit resulted in making Sanji stronger than before. He also gained the ability to vanish by moving very quickly. But since he must be constantly moving, he can't use it to sneak up into women baths anymore. Its kindness, however, remains unchanged. So that's an SBS volume. So then the question is, so he's using almost like a sorrow to turn into invisible, and but
Hold on a second. You're saying I fell for it, but nothing what's said in there contradicts what I said.
Well, what's you guys' position before we go into it?
Okay, so what's his name? Go ahead, make your case, please.
And because that the raid suit unlocked Sanji's enhanced abilities, because like his siblings, he was enhanced. It just he never showed when he was a kid. So the raid suit unlocked those abilities, and there was this entire subplot where he was afraid that he would have become as emotionless as his siblings.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Well, it turned out it was Queen all along who was messing with him, and so basically the raid suit, and at some point he didn't need to reset anymore, and he could use the same builds, including turning invisible. And this doesn't debunk that. The only thing that it adds is that his invisibility is because he's moving really fast, which might very well be how the invisibility works.
No,
right?
because he was using that invisibility in the past, remember? So it's clearly the invisibility that Sanji now have is totally different from the invisibility that he was using with the raid suit.
I don't agree, because it might very well...
How do you not agree when literally Oda confirmed it himself? Because when he said...
I don't agree with your interpretation of...
How? It's not my interpretation. It's factual information. Sanji in the past was...
Dude, let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
What Oda is stating here is that the mechanics behind his invisibility is that he's moving really fast. That's why you can't see him. But that does not debunk the fact that his invisibility, his ability was triggered by the raid suit. We had gave him the ability to turn invisible. That invisibility is not the same as what he's using now. Why would that not be the same? Because he's explaining the mechanics of it, right? Um, the only supernatural this ability to turn invisible is the devil fruit of which is now, I think, Shiloh has it. That allows him bend light, whatever, right? But this is an approximation of that power. We've never really got an explanation how these abilities, where these abilities come from, right? The superhuman abilities. Are they devil fruit related, or are they simply unlocking some sort of potential human body, whatever, right? If invisibility is explained basically because they move really fast, that's why it looks like they're invisible, and that would fall in line with the idea that essentially just superhuman beings who have powers that are essentially derived from some sort of biological process, some sort of biological ability. So I don't see this as contradicting the idea that essentially the ability that was unlocked to him with the raid suit is now possible by him by just moving really fast without the
But
raid suit.
he literally said, but since he must be constantly moving, he can't use it to sneak into women's baths anymore. So
Yeah,
this is completely different
that's a joke.
skill then.
Why did he sneak into a woman's bathroom when he had the raid suit on?
Yeah. Good morning. He did it. He did it when what's his name? He was peeping in, and then Drake came in, and that's when Sanji uncloaked himself and chased Drake off. If I remember correctly.
Okay, fine. Then I stand corrected. Then
So
I
that's
forgot
why
that.
I said it's different, because it kind of makes no sense to turn. What level of speed must you be to turn invisible then?
I
If you're doing that, shouldn't.
what level of speed do you need to turn your leg into fire,
Into
right?
fire, yeah.
Okay, but no, I'm talking about what I'm talking about is with someone like a good hockey ability. Should he or she not be able to spot like Sanji? Them?
Well, yeah, it works the same way that Kizaru works, right? Like, how do you effectively be able to block and maneuver light? Which is like all invisibility is doing is just bending light so you can't see. So it's either he's just making little like shadow images of himself or moving fast enough that he can't see, or it's like directly involved in how powerful this person is. So like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there are probably people who can still see Sanji or at least sense him, even though he's invisible. But like
Of course.
because Sanji's pretty powerful, as a powerful foe, a foe being able to be invisible is pretty dangerous.
But
So
I mean, observation hockey is entirely dependent on your ability to uh, essentially read or be able to predict your opponent's attack. So it doesn't matter if somebody's invisible or not in that sense.
Right.
So
so
yeah, so hockey is still regardless of how you achieve your invisibility.
So what I want to say is he doesn't have the shield anymore.
Or is he just not using it?
No. When he broke, so the shield
What
came with the raid suit, but because he doesn't have his raid suit anymore, he doesn't have the ability to use the shield. So me and Weeb, we were under the assumption of after he broke the raid suit, everything that he learned from the raid suit it got unlocked in him, and so he's basically using the raid suit without needing the raid suit. But that does
Right.
not seem to be the case because he can't
well,
use the shield anymore.
what shield do you mean?
Sorry? So basically, when Sanji fought against uh, pe, uh, what's his name? The T-Rex, not the T-Rex, the one dinosaur that is uh, the
Spinosaur?
the brother of
Queen?
no. It was literally the
Page one?
Thank you, page one. When he fought against page one, he was literally blocking his attack with a shield. Like, and that not him only. All members of Germa have a shield embedded in their in their raid suit.
Oh, then
Yeah,
yeah, probably. If it's a very specific suit thing, then yeah, he probably just doesn't have that anymore.
But
but
that's the thing.
it's not that everything is no longer possible because the Oda did confirm in that same SBS that his body has become stronger by the power of science that's manifested in his body. So that strength improvement that the suit gave him, that's still there.
Yeah, the strength aspect is still there, but the ability is not there. That's what I'm talking about. Like, he doesn't have the ability to shield him to what's called to use a shield, and also he can turn invisible the quote unquote correct way in order to peep, which that's not on other part. But again, to make it very simple, he can literally be standing and moving his leg like a bicycle and still turn invisible and peep. Like, come on, Oda, you should have
Or he
bet.
might need to be moving his entire body, not just his legs.
Yeah, you should have thought better of this one with this one. But other than that, if so, this one you're gonna guys laugh. You guys know that Fuku Rakujo, the dude with the big head, that was with Kaido. You know him, right? The bald
The
one?
the the Hydra fruit guy.
No. That's Orochi.
The,
Fuku
the
Rakujo.
ninja.
He is the leader of the Owabanshi.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember him, Zero? He is the big bald man with what's called.
One for the Rhizo in the end.
Yep.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah. So he have a history with Raizo. So apparently Raizo in the past used to be slim and stuff like that, and he also had a crush, and she was in love with him, and her name was Puja or whatsoever, and she is the sister of Fukurakujo. And get this is an actual story. Apparently, Fuja told Raizo she liked him, and Raizo's reaction was literally to almost push her, not on purpose, but like, you know when people react and their body suddenly moves? Well, that's what happened. But the thing is, she fell and she died. Kinda how Queen died, you fall and apparently falling is far more, is the biggest, the strongest thing in One Piece. Don't ever fall or you will die. So she died, and Fukurokuju found her, and he was like, "Who did this to you?" And she was mumbling the word, the name Raizo, but in her mind she is like, "I love you, Raizo, and I'm dying, but you're my lover. I love you, Raizo." But Fukurokuju mistook it as Raizo is the one that killed her. And Raizo never apologized, nor did he ever not say that he killed her. So he had multiple chances to explain to Fukurokujo what happened, but he never did.
Hold on, who pushed her? Was it Rhizo?
Yeah, Raizo. So basically, he pushed her
He
by
did kill her.
he pushed her by accident. You know when you get surprised or shocked, your body moved.
Yeah, okay, but he still killed her. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
precisely. So Raizo was actually a killer, believe it or not. Which, so this was in an SPS volume. I don't know if you guys pay attention to SPSs because that's important. That's when Oda shares information that he doesn't do with the main story because it's a main story and already long enough. He should have put this in. Maybe we're gonna see it in the anime because that would add some intensity
Nice,
to the fight against
be nice filler.
Fukurojo and Kaido. I mean Fukurojo and what's his name, Raizo. But yeah, that's the history between these two. And he showcased what's called the Kaido crew, what they look like when they were kids, and they talked about Film Red, but I didn't listen to it because he didn't cover it because I don't want to be spoiled for Film Red. I'm waiting on the actual film to come out, which one coming out? It's already out in a few cities, a few countries. I'm curious when
Uh,
it's coming out in the USA, so it can
I don't
be.
think there. I don't think there's been a date announced for the USA.
Oh, I can't wait because I'm pretty sure the synopsis and all is leaked. I'm waiting on it because I really want to watch it. So, going to Film Red, talking about Film Red, One Piece Film Red had the second biggest box office opening weekend for an estimated, okay, let me count it, 250 million yen. Let me make sure um I'm counting this right. What's that number? So what's that number? Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so 2,250,000,000. Okay, thank you very much for correcting me. I missed 1 0 then.
Yeah, I would say 2 billion would
Two,
dwarf most movies, most
two
regular movies.
billion and 250 mil. So, making it the second most successful Japanese film launch in history after Mugen Train. I'm disappointed Mugen Train took it, but hey, so be it.
Mugen Train's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. I loved it, but then they dipped it down with what's called with the anime. One Piece Film Red premiere is the best premiere of all time for a Japanese animated film in France. One Piece Film Red premiere admission attendance 119.300 119,333. Uh, Jujutsu Kaisen attendance was 63,000 attendees. And then One Piece admission day in France, so Film Red 260,000, Dragon Ball Z Broly 150,000, Jujutsu Kaisen 113,000, and damn, Demon Slayer only 58,000. Damn, that's in France, by the way. France, by the way. Um, where else? So One Piece doing numbers. So here, One Piece Film Red. The estimated 7 days box office of Film Red is 4.935 4 billion and 953 million yen. It already surpassed the total box office of One Piece Strong World, 4.8 billion yen. in Japan. That explain it, cause it had. I think they played it smart with putting film red in title, cause Red Chang. Other than that, so and the final one is I'm gonna let you guys add it. Oda had already told 24 years ago on the director of One Piece Film Red about the whole story of One Piece until its ending. The director recently said he wishes One Piece would end soon because it's been so painful not to spill the beans. Yo. Can you imagine how hard that must be? Cause these motherfuckers drink. And they get drunk. So imagine they're drinking and like, oh, damn. Usopp dies at the end of One Piece. I'm so bummed about that. That's how they act. Well, not they, in general, like drunk people. They say shit without. And then, finally, One Piece, and I don't understand it. I'm pretty sure this is a song. Ado topped the Japanese artist chart for the first time on Spotify and is also the longest standing artist, currently 294 days. Ado, what is Ado? I'm pretty sure that's a song for One Piece.
Ado is the artist, the singer.
Yeah, for One Piece Film Red. And
she also did the opening of Lost Judgment.
Oh.
Okay, I never played Lost Judgment. So I played Judgment a little bit. So okay. Whew, that was a lot to cover. I'm pretty sure.
By the way, I just read the SBS. You are not correct. Ryza didn't kill his sister. Those are two unrelated events. She confessed her love for him, and he didn't know how to deal with it, so he pushed her aside, and she got hurt. That's it. She later.
Yeah, but I literally said that was an accident. The death.
No, she didn't die from it.
Yeah, she didn't die from it. She did later die because she was sickly and she was lying on her bed, and she kept saying Raizo's name until she died.
So she didn't die from the fall?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay, thank you. I misunderstood it then.
Fukurochi mistook those words as grudges.
Okay. Yeah. I misunderstood that part then. Thank you for the correcting.
Because that would be pretty dark if Raizo actually killed her.
Well, he didn't do it on purpose, though. If
but it feels like something that would haunt him. Like I did this thing by mistake, and not like, haha, whatever. Anyway.
No, I didn't once say that Raizo didn't care about it. He didn't. For some reason, he didn't explain it or stuff like that. But yeah, apparently I misunderstood it. Thank you for the correction.
It also explains, by the way, how Orochi's devil fruit works. Apparently, as expected, if you don't cut his head 8 times, he doesn't die because he has 8 heads.
That makes kind of no sense.
That makes perfect sense because Orochi is an 8-headed snake.
Oh.
You have to cut all their heads.
Yeah, the Hydra is famously you have to cut off all the heads in order to kill. Like if you just kill one, it'll just grow back.
So you need to cut them respectively after each other.
It sounds like Oda simplified the process.
Yeah, precisely. Because if I remember correctly, if a head would grow automatically by the Hydra, so that's why I said it makes no sense.
To be clear, that's the Hydra, but his power is from the Yamato no Orochi, which is an 8-headed serpent.
Maybe it's one of them probably is inspired by the other. I got you.
Okay,
so it's technically not a Hydra.
I don't think they're inspired by each other because of the remoteness of Japan and ancient Greece. They had no contact to each other. But a lot of myths, of course, have a certain primal nature to it that they get repeated even if cultures have no contact with each other.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. So I'm going in blind with Film Red. I'm very excited about it. What your thoughts on Film Red? Box office almost 5 billion yen.
Great.
Yeah, great numbers. Like,
Yep.
I think I'm glad to see like more anime movies like getting these numbers. That probably encourages folks to keep making them.
So, do you think then we should a final ending with One Piece and story be a movie?
No.
No, only because even with Red, as far as we understand, it's still like not 100% canon, right? So I don't know if
It is
they
canon.
in the movie on its same thing.
It is canon. Just
Is it?
it is, but just so the actual people are canon, but the
Well,
ending, but
the events of the movie, not the people. Like, 'cause obviously the people are canon, but like, for example, when does this movie take place?
there
Because
is.
between we know where the Straw Hat Crew have been for the
Oh
last
yeah,
X
no.
amount of years.
Luffy is not meeting Uta in real life in the actual One Piece. That's
No.
not. But the same way how Shiki is not didn't meet Luffy, but Shiki as a character is canon.
That's fine. Like, so Uta is probably real, but like what I
Uta
meant,
is real, but
yeah,
she will never meet Luffy. That's
right.
basically it.
So then I don't know if you base the end of your series in a movie similar to that.
No, because at the end of the series, then you're gonna make it canon. Then what's happening is happening in real life. Like for example, let's say, and here just an example, Luffy finds the One Piece, and then a big war starts, and then Law or of Zoro of Sanji dies in the film. That's gonna be the actual ending. Because now you're focusing on the real story of One Piece. This is no longer. This is what actually people wanted out of Film Red. They didn't want a non-canon movie. What I mean by that non-canon, I mean when Film Red was first announced. Do you know what people wanted? They were expecting Blackbeard crew versus Red Hair Shank crew. That's what actually
It's kind of silly, right?
No, because that's what people want.
That's but that you can want a lot of things, but after 14 movies, why do you? At what point do you start to realize what's the truth about what's going to happen and just what you want to happen? Because for me, Oda had to prove me wrong, because there was no way I'm going into One Piece Red thinking this is canon, because the other 14 movies aren't. There are 14 of these movies. I get it. If it was like one or two, fine. But like this series has been on since the 90s. There's been 15 movies now, including Red. None of them. So they have certain pieces that are canon, like Uta and Shiki, but like none of them, not a single one of them, have been like, here is what's actually happening in the same way that Demon Slayer was for Mugen Train.
But that's
so why would he change?
Because Mugen, for me, and this is not my opinion, Mugen Train changed the game. Both Mugen Train and Dragon Ball Z, the Fight of the Gods, I think. Both of them changed the game. It showcased that you can take a section of the manga that's not animated yet and make it its own anime. Make an arc But with Dragon Ball Z, I'm not sure if Dragon Ball was then ahead of the anime or the anime was ahead of the manga. I think at some point the manga was ahead of the anime was ahead of the manga.
There was no manga at that point. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So that's what I'm talking about. They started it with a movie, and to me, because of how and it's not like that it wasn't successful. Clearly, it's successful because even One Piece didn't beat film Mugen. Like Mugen was hyped the fuck up, and for good reason. It's a fantastic movie. I enjoyed it, but I also enjoyed it because it was canon. And which is why I was bummed out when they put it in the anime. Which is exactly what they did with the Battle of God.
Wait, I'm confused. The only way it can be canon if it's in the anime.
No, but you don't need to do. You don't need to showcase it again. If you want to see if you want to see the Mugen arc, you watch the movie and you get back to the anime.
But they didn't re-show the Mugen arc. They just
no, they did.
No, they recapped where we were. They didn't show the whole thing.
I think they did.
No, I watched Demon Slayer. I know they didn't. First of all, Mugen Train's like an hour and something movie, so they certainly did not recap a whole hour again.
Okay, then that's Dragon Ball Z.
No, they recapped what happened. Like, it starts off with Tanjiro remembering what happened to Rengoku.
Yeah, sorry. That's,
and they go back and touch pieces, but they don't go through the whole movie. Matter of fact, the main boss of the Mugen Train, which is not the number 2 demon, it's the actual train itself, is never mentioned in the anime.
My bad. That's what's called Dragon Ball Z did that. Dragon Ball Super did that with Battle of God. They went back and literally showcased the entire movie all over again in anime.
It's not they cut up the movie, added animation, so it's not exactly there's a movie cut up to make the first arc of Dragon Ball Super.
Dragon Ball fit into the thing,
yeah. For me, so that's why I'm like, if both these did it and it did well, why not One Piece? Especially with, let's say, I'm just throwing a shot in the dark. The next arc we're heading is gonna be Shanks versus Blackbeard. It's rumored, it's hyped up to be, it's what people are expecting for it to be.
So that's why it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. Also, just movies take a long time to make.
I mean, yeah, but also the game as well. The game was apparently being made after Whole Cake Island. And
but games are easy because, like, you're not beholden to anything. Just go backward. Like, if you want this movie to go forward, then, like, that's a little different. Like, particularly for Demon Slayer, why it worked is because Demon Slayer operates on a seasonal basis. It doesn't operate like the old animes. Like, once season 3 of Demon Slayer is done, you're not getting any more Demon Slayer until season 4 drops.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas One Piece, it's just year-long arcs. Like, we've been in Wano for how long now? 5 years?
Oh yeah, shit, 5 years.
Yeah, like that's
and I don't think
Demon
in 5 years.
Jujutsu Kaisen, Dr. Stone. Well, Dr. Stone's done. My Hero. These are the new. Like, they're treating them closer to TV shows, or it's like season 1. Demon Slayer is the easiest one because each season is built into the name. Like, Mugen Train technically is season 2, but it's just a movie. The Entertainment District is season 3. I think the Swordsmith arc is season 4, and then it's the final season is season 5, and they're broken up like how a TV show would be, where you won't be seeing this show again until next year, but we get One Piece all year round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think it's tougher to do for them because, like, now how do I, like, parse out what season is, where am I going to do it, and then how do I make that fit into the anime? How do we, like, nail the release, which feels like a nightmare logistically.
Mm-hmm. So you guys don't expect Shanks versus Blackbeard to happen?
Not in a movie.
Well, in the manga.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they'll fight each other. I'm still pretty solidly that Blackbeard's the one who killed Shanks.
Yep.
I hope not.
I mean, I would certainly like Shanks to stay alive. Like, I do like him,
Me
and
too,
I
but
personally have like saw some One Piece film read spoilers, which I won't say anything about.
what's his name? We already know the spoilers. I know some
Yeah,
spoilers, but that's about it. Which is
yeah. I was just
basically
like,
on Uta, and that's about it.
well, I looked it up because like I have no clue when this is coming to the U.S.
Oh, so when it's coming?
I don't think there's been a release date stated. Like, I don't think they said
Damn.
anything about the release date
We
for
need
the
to wait
U.S.
for it to come, and then we need to wait for it to go into what's called on the website. Because I'm not going to the cinema for this one. Sorry, COVID is a thing. Most people forget.
Oh no. Well, hold on.
Is
Let
it?
me switch this up.
Hmm?
I was looking.
The Dragon Ball movie is coming in cinema next week, I think.
I'm not
Here.
watching. I'm not watching anything in cinema. Thank you very much.
Oh,
So
okay.
so the movie dropped on the 6th,
Yeah, I thought so.
but not here. So
Oh.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's in theaters here. And it's funny because we's right. I went to the movies last week. I see advertisements for the Dragon Ball movie.
Okay. And the final thing, it's gonna be very, 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 very quick, because you guys need to leave. But this was such a fun conversation. Also, imagine this now, Weeb. Because you corrected me, you're now blocked. Are not allowed to join the conversation. Do you know how crazy that is? And there is people with this mindset. If you correct them, it means you're above the law or something like that, and you're not allowed to correct them. So, and this makes me very interesting about that. TV anime Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War, streaming license is acquired by Disney Plus.
That'll make it easier to watch for me.
So, when I first heard about Bleach, they said they're gonna make it darker, especially with the final arc. They're gonna make it dark. With it being on Disney Plus, are we still expecting it to be dark?
Yes.
Yeah. Disney Plus has moved past that a while ago. Like Deadpool's on Disney Plus.
Oh, but Deadpool is a comic relief.
And
Deadpool cuts people's heads off.
Yeah.
He's funny, but he still curses and cuts people's heads off.
Oh, okay. I didn't watch it.
Disney Plus has nothing to do with the creation of the anime. They're
just distributing.
Exactly. So it makes no difference where it's streaming.
Yeah.
I would say, for you it's convenient, Zero, but I can understand people might not be happy with it because that's the entire problem with streaming in general and anime streaming for a while. That because there are multiple services that you run the risk that maybe season 1 of an anime is one service and season 2 another. So you're forced to get them all. Yeah.
I didn't think about that. So yeah, hopefully that's not the case.
Well, I don't think that's going to be the issue for Bleach because I think this is probably going to be shot in one go because the manga is finished. But obviously, I don't know what I think. Probably Bleach isn't. I don't know if it's still on there in Crunchyroll or whatever. So I do get that my people might be pissed that I need to watch the final season on a different streaming service than the rest of the things.
I got you. Yeah, actually, that does suck too because like part of it is like, why would I assume that I need to go to Disney to watch my anime when like I pay for Crunchyroll and all this other type of stuff?
Oh yeah, if you're paying for a subscription service, you are not to say screwed, but more like sometimes website get shit faster than subscription service.
Yeah, so I'd never thought about it in that perspective. Like, yeah, absolutely right. Like, if I've been watching Bleach the entire time on Crunchyroll, and then all of a sudden the last season that I want to watch is on Disney Plus, I'm like, but I don't have Disney Plus.
Gotta make a Disney Plus, eh? Or watch it on website. Up to you. And with that being said, we have come to the end of our conversation. Damn, this was a lot of fun. I truly enjoyed it. It was genuinely exciting. Shout out to everyone that came through. Weep, go ahead, do your outro.
This is the Weeb Sheriff, aka Infamous Rhizome. You can find me on Twitter and on YouTube. And I agree with Garba. Great show.
Zero.
I mean, I always have an absolute blast talking with you guys. It's very, very fun. 0x386 pretty much everywhere, or 0.exe. But most likely you will find me on Mondays in the Vitamin G podcast.
Oh yeah, Vitamin G, yeah, every Monday 8 p.m. Eastern Standards. So question to you, Zero. Have you ever lost your cool on a show?
On a show? No.
You're always cool, calm, cool, collected.
I don't. I was as a child, I used to lose my cool a lot. So I have broken probably at this point, it's got to be damn near 20 controllers through just like video game rage.
What? Nah, dude, that's surprising the fuck out of me. I never thought of you of something like. You're always the calm, cool, collected dude. What?
I used to get frustrated real easy.
I mean, I get frustrated with gaming, like, for example, but that's the challenge of it. Instead of getting mad at the game, I think then how can I do the maximum damage output very fast? And then,
and so do I. When I was a child, I was not thinking like that at all.
Okay, fair point. When you're a child, you want to get through it very fast. Fair point.
There's only so many times I'm going to lose the Shang Tsung before I get pissed off.
Yeah.
So like, as an adult, it's like, I don't know. It was kind of silly to like do all that stuff as a kid. So now I just don't really get that worked up about most stuff. Plus, like, all of this stuff is supposed to be fun. Like, it's fun to talk about anime and video games, and we can disagree and we can get passionate.
We can
argue
absolutely disagree, but we didn't call each other names. We didn't disrespect each other. Yeah.
Lose my cool. Also, like, it's the internet. The internet's not like a real place, quote unquote. So, like, more often than not, a lot of people who you might be like really getting into it with, you'll never meet these people. You'll never see them. Like, and if you're anything like me, I will have forgotten about anything within like an hour. Like, by the time an hour goes by, I'll be like, wait, I was arguing with somebody on Twitter? Like, wow, that's crazy. Anyway.
We are so inconsequential for... we are not even a blimp on a radar.
No, I mean, it's not
I'm
joking.
I'm joking.
It's just like, I'm forgetting about it in the sense that, like, Omar, what were we talking about last week?
Real talk, I'm joking.
Yeah.
But it was funny. Real talk, not gonna lie. But if you guys had time, I would have gone more with the conversation because I love talking about it, and you have not been on for a few weeks, so we had a lot to cover.
Yeah.
And it was a great show, and next week is gonna be the spicy one, cause then we're gonna do our Wano arc overview, and that's gonna be a fun show. But that's next week. And Kahraba, and this is Weeb and Zero, and we are out of here. Stop streaming? Yeah, we stopped streaming. Oh, Give me a second. OBS shutting is acting weird. Let me make sure that we're off air.